type of thing, but also like the idea of like when you're watching a sunset, there's that reflection of light that goes all the way on the water, like to right to where your feet are, but you're the only one that sees it. Nobody else sees that. Even if someone's right next to you, like they'll see their own reflection and you can't see other people's reflections. It's just interesting. It just kind of shows that with light, especially through the environment, there can be like a personal observational component to where they line up related to
I'm
these
just
like
saying
major fields.
if you're gonna flip because the sun, but you could explain the stars, then you could just explain the sun with the same thing the stars were being explained with. If you can't explain the stars, why didn't you flip before? Because you couldn't explain the stars. It just doesn't make any sense that someone's going to flip over this.
Well, also because okay, so the sun, like the star rotation in the south, like the clockwise rotation of the stars in the south. You could like there's degrees of that, and if you went to 23.4 degrees on that huge rotation of stars, you would be at where the Tropic of Capricorn is, depending on where you're at, of course, but you could see the Tropic of Capricorn. And it's like it follows the same path the stars follow. Meaning that you could map out the Tropic of Capricorn and like there are stars on the Tropic of Capricorn. Like there's like if you were just to look at all the stars that are right there, and those are part of the whole rotation. So that's why it's referred to. That's what the celestial sphere over a planar surface has always been described as. That's why it has that function to it. That's why they've been able to invert it and try to claim we're on an actual spinning globe instead of the actual reality of how the sky works.
Those stars are the.
Do you hear what I'm saying though? Do you hear what I'm saying though about somebody flipping?
No, I'll say it again though. If you want to say it again. What's up? What's it? Witzer jumped in. Yo, dude, excited. It's like hours away. Tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah. We get picked up at 8, and then tentatively flying out around 10, depending on weather.
Flying out at 10. All right, dude. We looked at one weather report, and it was like sunny skies all day. So a little bit of
that's what I hear.
Nice.
And then we found out that it will be the same time as here, so 2 hours ahead of Eastern.
2 hours ahead. So what time Eastern do you arrive there? Because then everyone could convert from there.
It'll be about 6 a.m.
I mean 12. What? No. Lunchtime, noon. Right? Because if we leave at 10, takes 4 hours. That's 2 here, but that's 12 Eastern.
Okay, so noon Eastern is when you should be landing there.
Yeah, roughly. Tentatively. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. And then you guys may have just like instant internet too. We were saying, dude, if that whole Starlink setup works like that Duffy has, and if he's cool with letting everyone use it, like that I really hope that goes well.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. It's just like a house Wi-Fi, so everyone should be able to use it. Like obviously everyone can't, like 5 people can't do a live stream at the same time, or it'll suck. Just like a house internet, right?
And then the debate should be over, right? That's what Duffy said.
Oh, Duffy's been informed multiple times. That's incorrect. But we have a physical demonstration showing it happening on a flat Earth.
Yeah, dude, it's just it's like the celestial sphere tilts in the north and the south equally is what it would be. And it reflects what the south does. Were you able to verify any further, like the sun rising southeast or southwest? Like, was that like since I guess at your last day there, like from these few days, like have you had any further like insight or ability to measure that just to kind of see what you had on that side, or was it always too cloudy?
Yeah, you've never been able to see the sun until later on in the day, like 8 or 7:30. But it is normally where it says it should be, but it never matches the magnetic compass, right? So it matches like the iPhone for the most part, or like if you pull out the Sky Guide, either one.
Yeah.
You know what it does? Like, yeah, you can blend the real sky VR, and so you can have like a nice little mix of what you're seeing where it should be. And it does match once the sun's visible. because that's like stellarium data, which obviously is supposed to be correcting for magnetic declination for your cardinal directions.
Hey, we talked when you first landed and the sun didn't match on that VR view. How long did it take to figure out where it was and get it aligned? Just curious.
Also, it was that the brighter part of the sky didn't match, and we couldn't see the sun because it was so cloudy. Right. So, I mean, I haven't actually seen the sun out of place yet, unless we're talking about the magnetic compass, and then it's always out of place.
You mean you haven't seen it out of place basically to what? I mean, it's not really the globe models. It's really just the celestial sphere. But nonetheless, I mean, it is the mainstream kind of thing. So you're saying that it fits that so far from everything you've seen?
Well, I'm saying the cardinal directions according to the globe model because the mainstream model integrates the correction based on what the globe predicts the cardinal direction of the sunset should be, and it says that's the declination.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the physical demonstration though?
So you said with the magnetic compass doesn't match up, but with I guess with the phone and digital ones they do.
Yeah, I've been
No, the
posting
magnetic compass never matches now.
I've been
So
posting
never,
Joe's
it never
content.
matched. So it never matched with the magnetic one, but it did with the digital ones that they could actually manipulate.
Yeah, give or take like 5 degrees.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the phones are gonna have like compensation tables built in.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know which one
Yeah,
you're
you're
talking
saying you got
about,
a physical
Austin.
demonstration of being able to see on a flat thing, being able to see
Good fucking
the
god.
sun in the south when it's not. Hold on a second. Are you saying you got a physical demonstration where you could see the sun in the south when it's not really in the south or something? Like,
Yes.
what is it?
Yes, and it does a counter rotation and for 24 hours. And as you move over all around the rim, it does the same thing. It just follows you. It follows the camera wherever you go.
Yo, post it, bro. Let's see that shit. That can explain the stars too, then, right?
Yeah, literally, he has the stars in the same demonstration.
That's dope. Yeah, post that shit, bro. Let's see that. What is it with that magnifying dome thingy or?
And basically, like he's saying, like he thinks there's superfluid in the dome, and then he's shown where superfluid has this like mirror effect. It acts like a mirror. So what he does, he has a dome. He has what he's replicating as a superfluid barrier, or basically the dome having superfluid inside of it. And then as the sun goes over the flat Earth, in the south, it creates this counter rotation for the stars and the sun.
That's dope. But you said it's a physical. Hold on a second. But you said he's got a physical thing of it.
Yeah, it's literally a physical demonstration you can watch.
But he didn't use superfluid though, right? Did he use something
No, he
else?
used like a double. He used like a double-sided mirror.
Yo, that's dope. I always thought it was some kind of reflective thing.
But dude, we might be able to prove that, right? That's what's so
Shit.
crazy. If that's the case, we might be able to prove that because the heat distribution should be different. The thermal gun should be different than like right at the sun. Even though it's out of range, right? Just the thermal distribution itself. And then the sunspots, we get to go to there and look at sunspots, which literally doesn't exist. You'll never find video of sunspots of the sun in Antarctica. So people go down there to like ski or to skydive or whatever, right? Like they don't go down there to like document the sun. So we have like 3 different solar filters, 3 different types of cameras with solar filters that are going to be filming what the sunspots are doing. And if it's like some of a mirroring effect, it's possible that they would be displaced or slightly inverted. I'm trying to figure out exactly what the sunspot should be doing, according to that model, because if we've been looking at the sun with sunspots the last couple of days, right, with filters to see the spots, and they're kind of like wagon wheel. And so it's like based on your latitude, according to the globe, we're so close to 90, it should barely move. It's just wagon wheel just a little bit. So we're trying to make sure we figure out exactly what it should be there. And then
they get somebody doing sunspots in the States
Hold
right
on,
now.
man. Can
And
you
see if they
post
line
that?
up.
Can
Hey,
you
you guys
post
got
that
juries
physical?
and
I
everything?
don't think anything's more important than this physical demonstration of that happening right now. So I don't know
Jeremy,
what you guys think.
this is what I've been trying to say. I've been posting this video for the last week. It's not like a new video.
It's a new video.
Joe
I think it is
Harvey.
We can all explain this stuff. So we can all
I think-
explain. So next time Troubled About or one of these guys comes in, we can all explain the 24
Well,
the sun
he has
trails in the
like
south
5
and all.
different 10 different ways of doing it, and without knowing the exact medium, there's no way of knowing which one is which. But he can demonstrate it in many different ways.
That's dope. Let's see one of them.
I got a mic check.
So why are there no sunspots in Antarctica with it? Why?
No one's looking.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's ever tried to actually use a solar filter there. Okay, he sent me one at 1 in the morning. The guy, I don't know if it's brand new. I'm gonna drop what he sent me.
Well,
Do
he
you have
just
a-
he
you have
just did a
temperature
thing
readings
with
as well?
Okay.
Sorry.
Can I get a mic check real quick?
Sounds
I can
fine.
hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You have thermal readings as well?
Yes, yes. Okay, we have thermal readings. He sent that to me at 1 this morning because he just uploaded it and did it. In the video, he shows the 24-hour sun going the opposite direction in the south. As he moves the camera, it literally follows him. So as the sun does a full circle, it does a full circle but smaller, and the opposite direction all along the rim, and the stars do the same thing. And thermal reading, yes. Sunspots, we've been testing it. We're going to do that as soon as we get there. And I'm about to go downstairs. We're supposed to be doing a live stream because the sun's about to set, so I have to hurry. The sun sets in a few minutes.
So
All right,
shouldn't
bro.
you see
Nice,
the
dude. Have a good
sunspots
stream.
upside down?
Well, they should be inverted.
Yeah.
Possibly inverted. I'm trying to figure out exactly
Yeah.
what it should be. None of the Globers can
most
even
of
tell
us-
me what it should look like, so.
I think they
They
should
don't.
look upside down compared to someone standing in the northern hemisphere.
How could you assume that though? That it
I'm not-
would be any different? How would you know? It
I'm,
could be
I'm
the
saying
same.
that's what the globe model would predict according to my understanding, and I'm not a certified expert, but I think I understand it pretty well.
well, when you say opposite direction, does that mean opposite from what it should be? Or, I mean, I don't quite understand what you mean by that.
What? Like the sun, it doesn't, it goes in like you have clockwise and counterclockwise directions. It's like the stars, sun, same way. All
So
right,
is that
I gotta grab all this stuff.
okay?
Yeah,
The
like every
sunspot-
yeah.
The sunspots are good because upside down is different than mirrored. So you should be able to see if there's this theory that there's a reflection, they would be mirrored. But if they're upside down, that would match the globe model.
So in a certain
Or they
shape would
could be
invert
upside
objects.
down
Yeah,
and mirrored.
exactly.
What'd you say? What's it? Is both?
Yeah, they could be both, right? Because obviously, if you put something on your ceiling and walk to the other side, it's inverted.
They
It's
could be
upside down.
both. I don't know what that would imply.
That is flat.
And shout out to Superfluid.
Yeah. I hate to break it to the Globers, but those sunspots better be exactly where you say, or you're in big trouble.
I don't have any money on this.
And even if they are where they say, they're still in big trouble.
Yeah, just way, way, way bigger trouble.
Well, I can't wait.
It's just variations of trouble at this point for the globe. It's just, oh man, it's brutal.
I can't wait for you to manifest all of them. Because it doesn't matter to me what the hell that sun's doing. There's no way I'm flipping. I am not gonna flip to where I know where I live. I know that there's no curvature. And I don't give a shit what that sun does. We live on a flat freaking plane, and there ain't no flipping me. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
I didn't even know sunspots existed before this topic, so I'm definitely not using that as a proof. But I would like to measure the water curving. That would be nice.
Well, what if the sky is actually like electromagnetic? It's not really the same physicality that we call physical things in this physical world, and it just functions in its own way, which It's not even really outside of the realm of physics. It actually is like the pathways that the stars make are fit a magnetic field, like to precision. And the whole sky, this the sky clock itself.
Light
So I mean,
itself
whatever
is
the true layout of the
electromagnetic.
land is, it already functions in the same way that we can replicate on a small scale that magnetic field flux lines constellate together.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It is electromagnetic. It is electric. Period. I agree with that.
I don't think that the light actually is physical beyond
Why
our
did,
barrier. Beyond our
Do you think they're
barrier.
in physical locations though? Because they do seem to be like in consistent locations. But yeah, like, but that doesn't even mean that they're physical objects. That's what's so wild. Yeah, it's like,
It
but they
could totally
represent.
be. It could totally be. But I mean, what we're seeing is light.
Yeah, but are you seeing an opening in something? Or are you seeing like the emission of something? Or, you know?
The light excites, I guess. So we're seeing physical. I mean, yeah, we're seeing movement. We're
They do
seeing.
kind of look like sparklers sometimes.
but
So
have you seen the photos? Like the astronomers have photos of stars exploding and nebula and all the cool stuff like that.
Yeah, those are all electromagnetic effects of
Yeah,
the
light is
field.
electromagnetic. I agree with you.
So what this Joseph Hanvey guy says is that he's modeled out all the phenomena using something that is like a bowl shaped dome upside down, and what he does is he puts the stars towards like the iris, or like the top part of the dome, and then the fluid fills up, like, I guess like 2/3 of the dome. Like the stars are in 1/3 of the dome, like towards the center, right? Like at the bottom of the bowl. And then the fluid fills up the second third of the dome. And then the air fills up the third of the dome. So when you model it like that, the stars end up being somewhat like replicated and mirrored into the south. And then the fluid is what carries the observation of the sun around the rim. That's why they look like two different sheets, because they are.
So you think the celestial sphere is two sheets with lights coming out of it?
Well, that's how he's modeled it, where the bottom of the bowl is where the stars are, and then because of that fluid, it's carrying the observation of the sun around the rim of the bowl when you're close to the side. It's a super fluid observation.
Huh.
That without that fluid layer, you wouldn't get the sun going around in Antarctica. And you also wouldn't be getting because like the southern stars are essentially like the northern stars at a different angle. It's a combination of the northern stars at a different angle. So it's the bottom of the bowl being reflected at a different angle because of
I
your
think
position.
most people in the southern hemisphere would not agree with you. That I think they say they see different stars. The pattern is completely different.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not even flipped or distorted. It's just
well, I mean,
different.
how would you tell the difference? If you're
You could
looking at
light.
if you're looking at a different angle, you're getting different luminance. You're getting
Completely different formations. Just
yeah.
changing the angle alone would change everything. It
I'm
wouldn't
just
be about
telling
no.
you. I'm just telling you that he's been able to match the phenomena, not line up the stars or anything that verifiable. I'm just saying that he's been able to replicate that motion and replicate the phenomena of the sun using that baseline. That's all.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
I think that's cool.
it's a possibility that the constellations in the south, the stars in the south, are a reflection of the northern stars, but just at a different angle. And when you change the angle, dude, I mean, you're talking about, you don't even know if they're the same distance away, all the stars, right? So
Right.
if you change the angle, it's going to change the way it looks completely, like the classical traditional shapes in the north. zodiac shapes. It's gonna change, bro.
Yeah, constellations are going to be completely different.
No, I think that there's a video that Shane and Alan, or I think it was Shane that sent out, that was a correlation of the two different rotations and how he was able to identify what some of the stars that were in the sky in the north that were replicated. The patterns were replicated in the south, and it appeared to be a distortion, but definitely there was some correlation that I
No,
saw in
I
video.
think I don't know if it's Tomb of Illumination, but there's a couple accounts that have hypothesized that yeah, it's just a reflection of the north somehow. I don't see it myself personally, but maybe they've messed with the with the angles a little bit more than I have to see maybe you can reconstruct the northern stars with the south. I've yet to see that done though.
When
Maybe
we
you
say
guys can link me.
when we say north, I mean I still get a little lost. Are we talking about the celestial, or are we talking about like the geographical north? Like I get so lost on like is when we say north, is it like a point between the North Pole and Polaris? Like, is there a physical location? Are we saying there's a correlation between the star and a physical location on Earth?
There is, but it changes continuously, and it's like using it for celestial navigation.
But I
Uses
thought
the ground position of a star, but almost nobody else cares. It's just whatever star is overhead at the moment you look up.
I thought North was like a field, though. Like from what I've been trying to understand from this whole debate is that it's not like a physical. Whenever you're using your compass, it's not pointing towards like a location. It's pointing towards the field of North. Is that
Yes,
not right?
the compass aligns with a magnetic field, like a
So that's
mechanical,
like a
plain
line.
old compass.
That's like a line. That's like a force
Yes,
field or whatever. So that
yeah.
can't be like a
It's
physical location.
uh,
It's a
it de-
direction.
it
No, well,
depends on whether you want to consider a magnetic field to be physical. I consider it physical. It moves the compass needle. I think that makes it physical, but it is invisible, unless you use a compass needle. And it doesn't
Is there
exactly
somewhere?
match
Is
the
there
North
somewhere that
Pole.
you can?
And
Yeah. Is there somewhere you can go that is like the point of where the north is?
of
So
course, dude, of course.
yes, yes,
how do we
it's
know
near.
that?
People go there. It's
I don't. I
very
mean, I've
closely
never been
surveyed.
there, but I don't have to go there to know that it's there. I have theological justification for it.
It's a
And
very
and
easy
if you
measure.
and if you look and if you look at the flux lines, like what he's talking about, bro, they're pointing somewhere. They're going somewhere. Where are they
And we're
going?
saying it's Polaris. We're saying it's under Polaris.
It's near there, but it's like 12 degrees or something away. It's in Canada. Like
So,
the
but
magnetic field does not perfectly align with the North Pole. It's
we're not
So when
talking
I'm
kind of
all
about.
the way down
I
in
know,
the
but we're,
south, when I'm all the
yo,
way down in the
my
south,
wording.
that north is pointing towards the same line, the same field. That's the same thing that you would get if you were all the way up in the north at the center point. It just gets stronger. It's more intensified. How do you know that you're
it,
closer?
it's all part of the same magnetic field, and yes, its strength does vary a bit from different places on Earth. And it's offset in its angle from the actual axis. North Pole and Polaris is different from different points on Earth. You can get maps of this.
Wait, what are you
It's
talking about?
carefully studied.
What'd you say?
I said you can get maps of the magnetic field, um, like declination and dip.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's carefully
He's talking
studied
about
because
the north.
people
He's
use
talking about the
compasses.
north, though. I mean, the thing is, you got like four norths and four souths, and when he's talking about like cosmic north regarding the ecliptic and like the axis of the Earth,
Yeah,
and then you
that's
got
right.
like you
The
got
right
the
ascension declination.
yeah, bro, but that's all based off of the heliocentric understanding of the orbit of the Earth, dude, and that's all wrong, dude. The Earth isn't tilted or nothing like that. We have there's a north, bro, universally, right, and there's also up and down uniformly throughout all the realms. Up is up and down is down. It's not relative.
So you think though, when you follow a compass north, you will get to a point if in reality there was land underneath your feet, or you could find that specific point, regardless if it's flat or a globe. You think there's somewhere you could point straight up and see the Polaris?
No.
It's close, but not exactly the same place.
Yeah.
And you're roboting pretty hard, hun.
Yeah, Lion was trying to say that. Yeah, the Earth's not tilted. The game is. Go ahead.
It sounds like exploitation of a phenomenon to me.
I feel like we have a field that we say is north, and then we have these stars that we don't physically touch, but we've said one way or another that there's a direct correlation between being able to see where a star is to a physical point on Earth. When they might not line up.
They don't always line up, and it changes, and there's slow changes and there's fast changes. And they're obviously the daily cycle and the yearly cycle are very important.
Here, I got a good example. Okay, so you know how like when you flush the toilet and you get that little swirl in the toilet and it makes this little tornado, and the tornado's not always centered with the hole.
Exactly.
There you go.
You've explained the magnetic field dynamo and the core process of the Earth perfectly.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeremy, did Witted ever post?
Ain't that some shit?
Really?
Hey, Jeremy, did Witted ever post that physical demonstration?
Yeah, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I got it queued up for later. Go ahead, take a look at it.
Did you guys hear that
Where was
physical
it at?
demonstration from Arma the other night?
What's up?
Hold on, Riggs. What's up, Elbow?
Where is it at?
It was probably one of the last things Witsit posted in text. I could DM it to you. I'll just DM it to you. Go ahead, Riggs.
Appreciate it.
Oh, just
Never mind. It was a shit show.
never mind.
What was Arma's
Yeah,
physical
Rick.
demonstration?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
fight against himself?
He gave everybody a physical demonstration.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Word.
Why are you so excited like a little schoolgirl, dude? What's going on with you and Arma?
He has no clue.
Arma's cool.
No comment.
No comment.
Nah, I'm
right?
playing. I missed it. I don't think I was there. It must have been
Let's
good.
just say
You guys are a little far apart in age, though.
that he shit himself from information. Like he
Damn.
So if
That was
anybody's
good, thank you.
interested, I posted Shane's video about 50 minutes in was where he talks about the correlation between the rotation of the stars and being like a mirror image.
I'm not completely convinced on that yet, but what are you guys talking about the dynamo, yo? Can you elaborate on that? I've seen what you're talking about, but I would like to know a little bit more about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, when I first saw it, it just blew me away. So there's a big correlation between the rotation and the stars that are shown. Now it is distorted, but it does show that it might just be reflection.
Yo, does anyone have a way to get a hold of that guy who did this 24-hour sun thing that Witsit posted? Because I'd like for him to try Eratosthenes on that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get him in here. No problem.
Get him in here.
He did a presentation with yeah, I mean he was in Ether Cause like a few days ago. We were talking to him, and he just did a show with Run Boston Bear today. It's like a 4-hour show, one of two. Yeah, he's accessible. So yeah, I've got him on my friends list. Let me send him a link over here so you guys can scare him away from Discord. Give me a
I
second.
mean, can you just tell him to try Eratosthenes on that thing? He's got that shit laid out on a huge giant table, right?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, he's going to get a 5x5 dome. Yeah, he's going to make a big ass model of the Earth. and it
Oh,
would
I
work.
thought the video was him having a big one just there. I only watched a second of it. It's just a small, tiny one, or it looked like a giant thing.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see that one yet. I mean, I've seen all his other stuff, or some of his other stuff. Yeah, man, the Eratosthenes stuff works. It's all about wherever you're standing on the surface, bro. It's gonna work.
The one that he has right now is
Yeah, I
big,
mean, I
but
can
it's not
imagine.
5 foot by 5 foot big.
I can imagine if you can get a 24-hour sun. But why wouldn't you be able? I don't know. I got to watch that video before I make any more comments. Go ahead.
Wouldn't it be cool to lease that thing in
Doesn't it?
Vegas, the big globe thing that's in Vegas now for that?
Place is gay, dude. All them LEDs around a ball.
No,
Everybody idolizing a ball, dude. I'm
The
good.
sphere.
I'm all set.
I concur that I could not think of something more gay.
Nah, you won't catch me in Vegas, bro. But yo, I was gonna say, dang man. Oh yeah, doesn't Shane believe that the stars are planar? Doesn't he have a model with all the stars planar, and then because of perspective?
Oh no,
start
no.
doing funny-
He said that due to the rules of his model, it doesn't actually explain whether the stars are on a curved surface or are flat, because they would actually observe the same either way, depending on like a number, like a value that is unknowable. So
Yeah,
it
that's
actually
true.
didn't matter either way. But I mean, Joseph is pretty. I mean, I've been saying it for years now. I'm pretty sure superfluid is the situation that's happening up in the sky. When they do the cosmic radiation background, the sky measures at 2.7 degrees.
2.73.
2.73. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
Kelvin.
right.
Yo, that's
2.73
actually one
Kelvin.
of the
Yeah.
mainstream. That's actually
Well,
one of the mainstream new ideas now. It's called SVT, superfluid vacuum theory.
Oh, great. Go
Or
figure. Well,
That sounds
anyways,
cool.
it's
So,
you need 4.73, maybe 4.73. I don't know. You need 4.7 to make a superfluid out of your gases. So, or at least out of helium anyway. And so the temperature is right, at least where we're measuring it, for that to be the case. So
they're measuring the temperature of outer space
I think they're measuring the temperature of the superfluid.
and outer. All right, no doubt.
You know, like
The
they think they're
2.73
getting.
number.
Yeah, I think they think they're getting the stars or whatever. They're really just getting. I mean, they think they're getting the cosmic radiation background. What they're really getting is the superfluid. That's what I think. So, anyways, the only way we're getting the phenomena of the sky is if there is some kind of fluid up there. That's just that's my position anyway.
that's what I believe. That's what Whitson believes.
And that's
a lot of us. I think, yeah, even science. They said something about where like there's like a firmament type of. You seen that article?
Well, there's also that rocket.
Bro, you guys, hold up. I'm
There's
like
also-
half listening to Jaren's stream, and he was just saying that like they're talking about the same thing you guys are, like in terms of the Joseph Hanvey and then the other things as well. But he was just saying like, oh, so it's legit? Like that's legit? Like he was basically, because like, yeah, just, I mean, I'm not saying he 100% was saying it was yet, but he was just kind of like saying that.
Yeah.
And because someone else was saying that it was, and he was like, yeah, he wanted to look more into it, more at it or whatever. But
well, it's because
I'm just saying, like, the whole
Austin's
thing of
talking
him,
about
like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, so Austin's right there trying to explain it to him, and dude, Jaren has been on the fence about this. Well, there's no way for it to happen. Okay, bro, chill. You know, so he needs to retract his position. Maybe he's thinking about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He sounds like he's in a really good mood, and he's basically sounds really like, yeah, just open minded and just in this way, like just his spirit right now. He's just like, all right, yes, you guys got it all figured out before we haven't even gotten there yet. It's already cracked. All right, good. Yeah. So we're good.
I mean, not that we needed his approval.
Every time someone says,
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying you're right though. In juxtaposition with him been saying for weeks that there's no explanation for it. Exactly. That's
He's
what I was
got
saying.
gummies.
Yeah, every time
somebody
someone
sent him
said,
gummies. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I
Yeah.
think there is some evidence for a superfluid up there because of that one rocket launch where it looks like it's skimming across water, and then the booster falls off and it starts bouncing and it creates rings like a stone thrown in water, bounces like 2 or 3 times. I mean, that's pretty evidence for a superfluid or a fluid of some sort up there.
Not necessarily. So the way the
Well,
superfluid functions is that it has a seemingly zero viscosity. So if it were, I mean, what you'd be seeing is not the superfluid itself, but the gases being emitted from whatever your propulsion is. So the superfluid wouldn't necessarily slow something down, but it wouldn't. I mean, maybe it could possibly
well, they
speed
say it
something
has
up if you were
drag.
harvesting it.
They say it has drag, though. They say no viscosity, but yes, drag.
That's interesting.
I don't know. I
Don't
had
know
a
what else.
3-hour long conversation with Jesse about it one day. But dude, every time
Yeah, I
someone says some
remember.
shit,
So are they
every
saying the
time someone,
superfluid is like right outside of the atmosphere, right outside of the barrier?
Jesse knows about drag.
No, the
Yeah, my bad,
idea
Jeremy.
the idea is that it's a pool of fluid above us, and then above that, in the bowl of the dome, is the stars, and then the stars have a reflective effect when you get towards the side.
So we're seeing what's coming through the superfluid.
Right, and that's why I always post that picture of the pool, of the guy in the pool with the sign that says "Physics is fun." It's because when they're like, "Oh, well, why does it look like this here? Why does it look like that there?" Well, you're not looking at. I mean, it's going to be clear, but you're not looking at the sun. You're looking at where it's being projected onto that surface that you're looking at.
It's honestly incomprehensible, dude, how the luminaries work. But if you the scriptures talk about even the ancient texts, even Sumerian stuff, the Abzu, right? The waters above, dude. And it's not talking about like the clouds, dude. There
Okay.
seems to be waters above us, and they understood that.
Hey guys, real quick,
Fluid.
I'm gonna drop down to voice chat too because Witsit, Jaren, and Lisbeth are currently live streaming. I'm
You're
gonna
gonna stream
live
it.
stream it if you guys want to watch it.
Cool.
And this is gonna be one of
Yeah.
the last, if not one of the last ones before they get on the plane to actually fly down there. So
Well, do you want it? I mean, you can just stream it in here. Although I guess you could either listen to both if we keep the combos going. I don't know. Do you want to stream it in here or down there? It's up to you. But unless we're gonna stop the whole stream to watch it, or if you just wanted to stream it and then people could choose, or yeah, if you want to do it in the live stream too, that works
yeah,
too.
I'll just
Whatever
do
you
live
want to do.
stream too. That's all. I mean, or you can just watch
I
it
was
on
listening.
YouTube yourself.
Yeah, I think Jaren's live right now. Is Witsit going live as well, or
He's
or
on
is just
camera
his-
with him. No, it's only Jaren streaming it. But Lisbeth
Okay.
and Witsit are also on there as well. They're all three of them are together at the moment.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, man. Whatever you want. Yeah, however you want to do it. Yeah. Whatever
All right,
works. I'm just.
so where are you going to put it? Live stream 2 then?
Yeah, I'm just gonna live stream it on live stream too. If people want to watch it, they can. If not, then talk about whatever you want.
Right on.
Permission granted.
Yeah, so this is like, even if they try to do something negative with this, it's just going to completely backfire because this is just going to stir up so much more energy within all of this on all levels. And it seems like the kind of like defeatist, like it doesn't work, it has to be a globe, does like that psyop does not seem to be going very well for them. So seems like it's kind of clear sailing from here forward.
That's not what the Globers said going into this.
They think they're ending something, but they're actually just fueling to the fire of the continued process that they can't stop.
Pretty much. Yeah, the more energy you give into something, the less likely it's going to go away, guys. Just letting you know that.
I know, but if they give none to it, then they feel like they're really just they have no control, which is kind of true, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if there's whatever oppositional kind of energy.
They would have better luck rolling the dice and leaving the community than putting all of their emotional support into it. That's the cosmic. That's just how it works. That's the rules of this game.
What if you just like hanging out, talking to interesting people?
Well, you can do whatever you want.
Cool.
What if they show that video to Duffy and he's like, "All right, trip's canceled. No, we're not going."
It ain't gonna make a globe though. That's what I'm saying. Like
I'm not trying to change anybody's mind.
Your participation may actually change the physical reality of the universe just by participating in it.
Like I lift my little finger and the entire universe changes. Butterfly effect, right? Yeah. I mean, I feel like I hope I'm contributing something because people have questions and I try to answer them the best I can. I'm not the official spokesperson. I'm not like Neil deGrasse Tyson, the president of science or anything.
Wait, who's
I mean, whatever
who's asking?
Like all of the
Still waiting
answers.
for Riggs.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, dude. All right. Well, I was gonna say, whatever one's viewpoint of how the sky works. The thing about all of this over the next week that's going to be happening is that, like it's been said over and over, but that doesn't make the ground. Like whatever one's perspective is on the ground right now, really, like it wouldn't really make sense for this to change that, just this alone, because they already would have like their understanding of whether the ground has curvature to it or other water curves and all of that, to the point to where an observation of something in the sky wouldn't even change that anyway. So it's kind of strange that they've even been trying to say that it would do that. Although I do understand the basic premise, like it is kind of the little hook of it, just because of the idea of one sun circling an AE map, which is kind of a model that was like kind of given to us in a way. Like that is kind of like I've always thought that is like there's a part of that, like especially the AE map, the way that it's distorted, and then the way like they put Antarctica all the way around the outside. Just seems like, and the way that they use that in their United Nations logo, like, so there's always been something kind of psyopy about that in the first place to me. Not just either
you know
way.
why? You know what it is,
So
Joe? I don't think that like all these people in like history that have helped conceal this truth, I don't think they all wanted to do that. I think that perhaps they were born into a situation or they were a part of something and they were asked to do something, or maybe their work was taken out of context, or they were asked to theorize this other scenario, which they put a lot of work into. And they're like, yeah, this is bullshit though. Like Newton's last page, right? It's taken out. But I'm not sure that everybody that participated in the lie actually wanted it to succeed. So I would imagine that over time, while they didn't outright tell people, they would cook in a hypothetical which allowed the truth to reveal itself.
Hey, FYI, geojournalism is live. They're in a view of the sky. They see the light, but they don't see the sun, the actual sun. But they keep saying that, by the way. Just FYI. Sorry, Rick, for shitting all over your comment.
Yeah, I gave my phone to Liz first. I gotta come up here and grab some.
Was that for us?
Yeah, he was letting us know that Liz was using his phone to they're doing the dual stream thing.
Okay. Yeah, the clouds came and blocked out everything.
Bastards.
We gotta sue them. I watched the video, man. I wish he had some better quality camera to film what he showed with the demonstration. But the star
Yeah, but
theory is
nevertheless,
crazy.
you do clearly see that the sun, what's representing the sun, goes in a small little circle on the outside, the opposite way. And then as
Yeah,
he moves the
100%.
camera, it goes with him. And then he zooms in on the stars, and they're going the opposite way in a little circle. What's crazy about it is that it's for everyone wherever you are on the outside, which is crazy, bro. Like that is, I mean, that's a physical demonstration. So this is kind of what I was alluding to when I was talking to SC. It's like he's like saying it's definitively falsification of like the A map or anything like it. No, it's not, right? Because there's a physical demonstration of how it works right there.
And
It's very
it's
possible
crazy
that
is
we get
like
some
this
information that could help verify that when we're there.
the
Well, he
stars.
wasn't the only one saying that. I mean, Jaron was saying that too, wasn't he?
Yeah, Darren was wrong.
Yeah, the stars look like they're actually floating in there. What's crazy about that too?
Dude, every time someone says something's impossible, I cringe a little bit inside. Like, I don't know what's impossible and what's not, but I feel like just to say something's impossible is like, I don't know.
We're gonna get your eye back, Jeremy.
I want to stab people with Irvin Johnson's needle and ask, do you believe in magic when they say that?
We're gonna grow a new eye for you in a jar. We're gonna get you
Hey,
seen again.
It's Kevin
I'm gonna
Garnett.
smack
Anything is
him.
possible. Kevin
Gonna
Garnett.
ask him.
Anything is possible.
He's gonna get
Can we all
that
agree?
Neuralink eye.
Can we all agree the guy showed a physical demonstration of a way it could work? Though
I haven't watched it yet. Elbow, what do you think?
Yeah. No, I like. I wish the quality was a little better, but that is definitely pretty good. It's actually
he's
pretty
Where's
supposed
good.
to
that
send.
posted?
Check this. He's supposed to send me one of those domes. They're like $500, and,
If you
and then the
if you
shipping,
talk to that, oh my bad, go ahead with it.
and the shipping is like a few $100. So it's like a whole thing. He's supposed to send me one of those, and dude, we'll get some actual superfluid, even though it's hard to contain it, and we'll like actually replicate it, and I'll film it with different GoPros and 360 cams inside the dome, and we'll film it with like an HD from the outside at different angles,
Dude, you can't
and
get
we'll
a
like fully
superfluid
break.
in that dome, bro.
No, maybe not.
Like,
That sounds awesome. We should definitely
I
try.
like to
Hell yeah.
see. I'd like to see Eratosthenes.
Robot,
I'd
Jeremy.
like to see Eratosthenes done on that.
Dude, we gotta get
See if that
Jeremy
works on
some
that
data,
too.
bro.
I know Dr. Zach did it, but there was like some questions. Huh? Come on.
We
Come
gotta
on,
get you
guys.
some
Now it's
data.
good. Now it's good.
Now it's finally good,
Hey, I'm about to
right?
jump on the. I'm about to jump back on the live stream. I'll let you
All
go.
right, cool.
Hey Riggs, you say you can't put in superfluid in there. Are you saying it's impossible?
Yes,
yeah,
he is.
yeah. Actually, acrylic is
Damn.
gonna explode if you have like fucking 4 degree Kelvin superfluid on it. It's gonna fucking you're gonna have like an actual explosion. So, good luck.
You've said this before. That feels like deja vu.
If you would
like
ask people
years ago.
100 years ago, if you would ask people right when the light bulb came out and you said, someday we're going to be able to turn this light bulb on and off by clapping, they would have been like, nah, it's not, it's impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like shit that was impossible before, we're now doing it.
Nikola
Not the
Tesla
same thing.
would have said, "Hell yeah, let's do."
Right. It's a little bit, I think, different comparison to that, though. Same thing.
I'm not saying you can't get like custom glass and like tempered glass dome, but that would be like thousands of dollars. So,
But then that's what you want to do. I'm just
So,
saying.
does anybody know what is it about superfluid that is important here? Does it refract light a certain way or something?
It
I don't know. I'm
basically
going to be
has
mad if it's
almost
super
no
fluid just
friction.
because Rocky has been calling it super fluid for years now.
So
It's
no
like
friction.
space without, but it's like space but with fluid.
Okay. And so it helps. You need it to explain the position of things with refraction.
something like that, yeah.
Okay. But it's superfluid and no friction, so something's moving through it. Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's like it would be like this frictionless fluid that you can't really see. And if you've ever seen the lunar wave from Crow 777, you can essentially see a ripple in what would be superfluid up there in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
No
so
doubt.
it's essentially like this clear layer of fluid that is it would be highly magnetic. It'd be highly magnetic. So
You know, you know,
if there are flux lines, it would be carrying a vortex, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to see it. And that would explain why you have like these lines that are like, you know, the lunar wave type lines, because it is spiraling. You're going to have like some overlap.
you have apparently some type of fluid that's being contained inside of a vaulted dome, dude. Allegedly it's a crystalline structure. It has fluid inside of it, and the luminaries are encrusted inside of it, inside of that fluid. And there's supposed to be multiple of these layers, bro. Multiple of these layers with actual water in them.
Oh, maybe he doesn't know. So superfluid
funniest part-
climbs to the top of a container. It like
Oh,
pools.
interesting.
The
It
funniest
pools at
part about
the top. Yeah. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'm good, man. Go ahead. A lot of people want to get in. Go ahead.
No, I finished. I finished so you could get your rocks off. Go for
Someone else was trying to get in at the same time. Someone
I
else was
didn't.
trying to get in too. No.
You got a
No.
little lag.
I know.
Yeah, so I was
A
going to
little
say
lag.
something right
The
now.
funniest.
Yeah.
Snacks.
I'm good, guys. Go ahead. Go ahead, guys. I'm good.
But yeah, they need to try to model this out. They need crystals that are dome shaped, and they have to have maybe even chambered so that they got water inside of the crystal. And then you have to put it also under pressure, so it has to be pressurized. So you can get and there's this resin, dude. It gets crazy and crazy because it has to. It's like sonoluminescence, but instead of a glass jar, it's in a crystal. And there's like
Dome.
there's layers in between too. There's like 7 layers of other domes, and between all of it, it creates the projection ability that we see right now in our atmosphere. I can't explain the mechanism. That's what the ancients talked about.
I wish you started what you're saying before you mentioned it at. I mean, if you did, like you said it at the end instead of at the beginning. You should start off with the ancients talked about blah 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 blah, instead of like saying your shit and then at the end you're just gonna plug it in.
Well, why do you think the ancients knew something we
They
didn't?
knew more. They knew more than us.
Why do you think that?
I have a theological justification there. I don't feel like getting into it with you right now, but the
I get it.
ancients
That's
were
fine.
aware of our cosmology.
That's all you got to say. I'm not gonna.
One of the
press
reasons
you.
would be they were built a building to where if all the humans died, that would be the only building left. The building the ancients built, not the ones
Like
we
the
built. The
the
skyscrapers, they all get demolished. The ancient ones they'll be the only ones left.
yeah, because they weren't very efficient.
Disagree.
What's going
I
to be
mean,
left, Rick?
What?
20,000 years.
Yeah, I
The
disagree.
Empire State Building's gonna be
Dude, I think if we weren't based on a fiat currency and that we had a different value system, that we could build things just as good as they do. It's not.
But we
I
don't,
think
though.
yeah.
we could
Here's
though.
what'll be left is the open
We
pit
could, but we
mines.
don't.
You know, where they
Hold on,
just
man.
move.
We could, but we
They move so much
All
earth.
What the fuck?
Yo, what's going on? Jeremy was
I
trying
don't
to
know. I
talk.
may be lagging. Just go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
I think you were saying
Nah,
we could, but we don't.
give him some room. You know the guy got a lag a little bit, dude. You know, got hard. Just let him go.
Go.
Go, Jeremy. Go, Jeremy. Go.
Let's all agree. Let's let Jeremy cook.
Jimmy, we know you love you. We love you. That lag though, you gotta call that phone company, right? That internet company, and be like, listen, I don't care what the hell you're telling me I'm getting. You need to get your ass out here and fix this shit. I got
Just
proof.
tell them you can't moderate your Flat Earth Discord server. That they need to get on that shit, motherfucking snap.
Ain't playing.
You ain't
Go,
playing.
go G on them for real.
You got to tell them like they said on Dave Chappelle, like I ain't playing on my phone. Yeah, man. I think that if you have the right money and you have the right regulations, we can build that shit today. I think a lot of the stuff, honestly, dude, I think the rich people build shit like that still, but like it's not out in public. I think it's
Where
like
is it
fucking
at?
at
Is
home.
it underground?
I also think we could build it today. I also think we could build it today, but we don't. So if we all died right now, the only thing left would be the shit the ancients built.
Why is
And a
that
layer
though?
of
I mean,
plastic
sure.
and pollution on the
Bro,
earth. That ain't ever
why'd
going
you
away.
start off arguing with me then?
It was like a distinction, like you're, I agree with you to some
You just wanna-
extent, but
you just wanna debate.
No. There was a point. I forgot how we got on it, but there was a reason why I wanted to make the distinction, but I forget what that was now.
I'm with you though. I think we could build this shit right now. I know these guys that think we can't are tripping, bro. Tripping. That shit.
Yeah.
You guys know how to build it though? Then
Well, the distinction I think is that like when you say shit like that, bro, it makes people think that like we couldn't do that or like people don't know how to do that shit. I honestly think people do, and what they're doing is they're pushing all this dog shit on like the History Channel to make people think that we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
okay.
I think that's the
Well, just
case.
like they fix our roads, they can definitely fix them better, but they choose not to, right? And they purposely do it by design, so they keep fucking having to come out and do it, right? Okay. But where's these not public places, like just one, to like show me that it's possible, that they understand how to, right?
So I posted
It's
a picture
not hard.
once
You just
of one of the
Go ahead.
mining trucks that they use in the big mines, and it could, the blocks that the pyramids are made of. That one of those mining trucks could carry like 40 or 50 of the pyramid blocks. There are open pit mines that move huge amounts of rock and dirt and coal and stuff for extraction.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
like in Alaska.
They move far more material than were required to build the pyramids. I mean, the pyramids are definitely amazing and impressive and awe-inspiring.
Where'd you post it?
Right. I was going to ask the same question. Where?
It was a long time ago, but I'll find them and
Okay.
I'll post them in the channel for y'all.
Well,
Thank you.
I think that well, when you say it could carry like a bunch of the pyramid stones, I think the stones that people are usually referring to when they say like, "Wow, how'd they do this stone?" is the giant granite slabs in the king's chamber, and also above the king's chamber, formed into like a load dispersion sort of, almost like a spinal sort of, like a vertebrae style, like weight distribution system of like chevron shaped slabs like stacked on top of each other. And those ones are a lot larger and a lot denser of stone, and also they're extremely high up. And so the way I think most people would say is like how they move stones that large, that high, and also put them into place. But yeah, I mean, the smaller casing stones and stuff like that isn't too big of a deal, I guess.
Yeah, how much are those? How much can those trucks move? And how I've seen those trucks. The wheels on them alone are like 2-3 times the size of a human, just the wheels. So I mean, how much can those trucks lift? Even if those trucks couldn't lift the granite ones in the king's queen's chamber, you're still just talking about moving a rock. Like what? Moving a rock.
Well, I think
about
they could have. I think the geopolymer shit. I think they could have made their own like granite type thing. also. Like, this is my big point, is that if they just need to find a machine or make a machine to grind stuff up into a fine dust, then all they're doing is carrying around or using some kind of conveyor system to push around dust and then mix it and lay it.
The problem
I
with
think
that
we
is
could.
you got the Bubbex stone, bro, and
Uh-huh.
and then you got like you can test to see if it's like a polymer or a concrete mix. Like you can just by like the structure, the molecular structure, you can tell. But not only that, what about the one that they abandoned, bro? Straight out of the bedrock.
You don't even know if they were going to use that as a whole piece, though. You have no idea if they were about to move that whole stone or if they were chipping pieces off of it and using pieces.
I think
So
he's
do we?
talking about the 3 that are already in place.
The
Are
one
we?
in the one in
Silicon stones
Lebanon.
are the biggest megalithic ones. Oh, yeah. Just think about the phrase, guys. Move a rock. We can't move a rock right now? Come on.
The
Get
largest
it together,
rock
guys.
ever moved was the Thunderstone. I think that was done in Russia, but it was a lot. It was a very short distance. It was like a mile.
Our Ninja Tower was attacked 33 years. 133 is
So,
the code. And guess
going
how
hot,
old?
Mike.
So what
Just give
channel
me
should I
a
post
credit
these
card, not
pictures
throw
in?
away.
And guess what? We're going guess what day of the year they said that
Geo, you're hot, Miking.
on astronomical data. September 11th. And he was born.
Geo.
I got him. I've been waiting to be able to serve him
Yeah.
Geo. Got him.
What channel should I post these pictures in?
Christmas came early for Jeremy.
I was on my way and I was like, oh shit, Gio's not making about food or something?
Live stream 1 text is where you should post them.
Gotcha.
Sounded like Witsit coming through.
Yeah, it did.
The people that are saying that they think that this stuff is, we could create it now. Are you saying that they created it like through, think that it was done by slaves and stuff? Do you? Do you think like the narrative
Maybe.
of that these were all constructed by slaves?
We have records of them being paid. Whether or not that was like a fair civilization or something, were they totally voluntary? I
But you
mean,
think,
Nah,
that it
dude.
was
I think they could
mass.
have made it with the technology they have. Absolutely. Nothing's hard about moving a rock.
But mass
That's
human
it.
labor is what you think is done. Did it? Mass human
yeah,
labor.
it was tens
If
of
you get a
thousands of
rope,
people
if you
for
get a rope
several
that's
years.
thick enough, if you get a rope that's thick enough around a rock and long enough,
You guys
you
think
get enough
that's what they
people,
did?
you shouldn't have any
We
problem moving a
No,
rock. No, I
nobody knows
don't
how
think that's what they did.
nobody know.
No.
Yeah, no.
we have carvings and pictures where they carved of them dragging,
I've seen
100 guys dragging a big old statue on a sled on like
I
skids.
think they did
No, I've
that.
seen those.
Those
I've
aren't,
seen those. But I'm
but
saying,
they're not carved in. They aren't carved
yo,
into the pyramids, though. There's nothing carved onto the Great Pyramid. Blank.
no,
I
but
mean,
he's
for
talking
all
about other petroglyphs that show or hieroglyphs that show the Egyptians carrying big ass blocks, big
How
ass
long would it?
blocks.
How long
But
would
not
it
only that,
take?
it shows them.
So
It shows them
other
as
shit
big.
could have been built. Other
Go
shit
ahead.
could have been built like whatever. Yeah, they could have dragged it on sleds, big rocks on sleds. But the pyramid, there's nothing. There's no inscriptions on how they built the pyramid, the Great
But
Pyramid.
the thing is that the Egyptians also built pyramids. They were inspired by the ones that were already there that they inherited after the deluge.
well,
Those pyramids
Yeah,
were
they
there before the Egyptians.
well, I mean, it's possible that they conscripted a labor force from like Africa, and then got a bunch of people to come in and build it. I mean, they had pyramids in Africa.
Egypt is in Africa.
Yeah, I know, but like, I mean, it's like North Africa, but there's more like south from there. So they could have gone like more south, had other people help build them. Another thing they could have done was, yeah, they could have used slaves, but I'm pretty sure they found an underground, or they found evidence of a river that used to exist, like going to the Great Pyramids, that show that they had used the river initially to transport all the rocks from the quarry into the site of where the Great Pyramid is.
No, that's not true. I looked into that. That when you look deeper into that, you'll find out that they get that whole idea from like a receipt somewhere, dude, of
No,
some
they got it
granite or
from.
whatever.
What do you mean? That they
They got
So
that.
I think there
They
was
got
something
that
they
idea
used the.
from like from an inscription.
Well, I think they always like theorized it being a thing, but they didn't have evidence for it. But they actually ended up finding the what was it? They found the place. I can't remember how they did it, but there was like I don't know. They scanned something I remember, and they found it.
So they can test for the same material, right, and know where the granite came from or the limestone or whatever. Roughly, they can tell
Yeah.
which quarry it came from, but they can't tell you exactly which pyramid the Egyptians built and how they were transported. You get what I'm
Well,
saying?
I mean, I
yeah,
don't think I can. I
but
don't
they were
think I can
probably.
debate humans being able to. I don't think I can debate humans being able to move a rock anymore. I mean, people that are saying we couldn't move the rock. I mean, this is. I don't know.
I don't think that's what they're saying. I think that they're saying that it didn't. That's not how it was built.
They
No, but
did
people
build
saying you.
pyramids.
Just because humans
They
couldn't do it.
literally
How long would it take humans to build the pyramids? How long would it take?
a few decades.
Using rock. A few
Dude, how
decades.
do they cut the rocks?
Depends on how many people you got. If you got
With
enough people, I'll build that shit in 2 days.
Well,
If
what
you
was
got
the
enough
world
people, I'll let you
population?
build that shit in real.
You think there was
Go ahead,
enough
guys.
people to build the pyramids? Like in
Yeah.
like 2 decades? And they just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna die in 2 decades?
They built it in like 2 years.
20 years.
Come on, dude, stop.
We
No,
have
how
where
do
they
they cut
live.
the rocks? That's the problem.
They had housing and quarters and stuff like that. Like they had camps and stuff. We
Like,
know
you really
like
believe
the size
this?
of their rooms. That,
Oh,
like
really? We know they had
Egypt.
camps now.
Come
on,
this
dude.
is studied in Egypt, right? Like you go to
You're
Egypt and there are
bullshitting.
people there who are scholars in this stuff, right?
Nah,
Scholars
People
of
have been
what?
studying the pyramids a hell of a long
There is
time.
no documentation of the building. They don't even know who built them.
Dude, the head
This is not true.
Egyptologist.
Yeah, it
Can you
is
hear me?
true.
The
You
Egyptians
guys
built the
hear me?
pyramids. They
Yo,
weren't
hold on.
built
Let
somewhere
Jeremy
else. They
talk.
moved
Who are
to
the
Egypt.
Egyptians?
Yo, I'm
Come
gonna
on,
have to
man.
start
Like
muting
you guys.
real quick.
Yeah, just start muting people, bro. Can we live stream you know, letting
Nah,
everyone
you're
get
coming in
in?
clear now. People are just jumping over you. Dude. I don't know what's going on.
I know heads
Earlier
like
you were.
I don't know. Okay, fine. I don't even
All right.
remember what I was gonna say now.
They can
Go,
move the
No, you
rocks.
said the lead. No, hold on.
Blob
Hold on. You said the lead Egyptologist. Something.
Yo, the lead Egyptologist, one of the head guys that this guy just mentioned, said we know the pyramid isn't from before 5,000 or 6,000 BC or something because there was no humans around that could have possibly built a megalithic structure. And then they found Göbekli Tepe right next door in Turkey, which means those guys don't know jack shit. They're just making it up as they go. These heady archaeologist guys that are the professionals.
Is this the guy that was linked here? Zahi Hawass?
That's the worst one.
It doesn't mean that they don't mean that shit. It means that they're creating a narrative. They don't want to tell maybe they do know, but the head Egyptologist guy in Egypt now is shutting down anybody who goes in there and questions the official story or finds anything that's different from the official story. So I only just joined, so I don't, I'm sorry, excuse me, just jumping in like that.
No, you good. Zahi Hawass is infamous, dude. And he's the lead Egyptologist in Egypt, and he controls like even the tourists and all that, like where they're allowed to go.
Yeah.
He
he
blocks out certain sections. You got to pay big money. He might let you into one of like the secret chambers or something. You got to pay him big money.
He's the Don Pettit of Egyptology.
He is. You know what? I heard him when that one guy gave the theory that the Sphinx had water erosion.
Yeah, you gotta turn your mic down
freaking
a little bit, bro.
I'll not scream. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you know what? I had my phone up all the way. Never mind. Go ahead.
So
Sorry, my bad.
I'm being loud too. So when the guy thought that the Sphinx was eroded by water, he took that guy apart, like, and made him look like a fool. Mr. whatever that guy's name is, the guy that's in charge of everything in Egypt.
Zahi Hawass. He's even destroyed certain artifacts. SGD's made videos on it. There's this little like miniature pyramid, and under his supervision, it was like basically shaved, like the edges were shaved off, and like now it's not in its original form. They like added like bezels to it. I have no fucking idea why. It's like, don't tamper with evidence, dude. What the fuck? And he denied the chamber underneath the Sphinx and the side entrance for like the longest time until he had to admit, okay, eventually he had to admit, okay, there is an entrance here, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like a little hole that you can barely crawl into. It doesn't lead anywhere. Trust me.
Bro, there was probably a library, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's probably some entrance to some sort of fucking secret library underneath. Exactly, dude. Or maybe it's just draining system. I have an idea that the erosion isn't Graham Hancock or whatever Robert Schoch's idea. I have an idea that the Sphinx was actually a fountain, and that it isn't rain that caused the water erosion marks, but just literally the water that they had flowing through it, like probably spouting out of the top entrance on the top of the skull, and then draining into the one on the side. Because the whole Sphinx is inside of a little trench dug all around it. It makes for a good little swimming hole.
That's pretty
not bad. Not bad.
So you think the Sphinx is just like a garden ornament?
I just think it's a fountain. Fountains are a real esoteric thing. When Freemasons were more involved in the founding of cities, what would they say? Like the first thing would be you build the jail, right? The second thing they would build would be the fountain, especially since like you couldn't just order fucking bottled water from places. So when you're starting up like a community, right, or a new town, you know, that's the watering hole for the humans. Every animal needs their watering hole to go drink from or take a few buckets home from. So
Pretty hard to live in a desert
Yeah,
without water.
bro.
Huh?
SE said the other day that could have been the Great Pyramid could have been a water pump or something like that, I think. And I never even thought about that, but they would have known that water's massively important because, you know, if the Nile didn't flood, they wouldn't like do good with their crops and shit. So if they had some kind of crazy water pump pyramid thing going on, that would be water is super important.
Well, you've heard the electricity generation idea, right?
yeah, and its relationship to like the Tesla Tower and how both of them have like underwater tributaries running beneath them.
Well, it was limestone, and then it was covered in granite, apparently. And as the water level would rise up in the river, it would fill up the limestone would absorb it, and then as it drained out, it would create an electric charge, and the granite would keep the electric charge inside, and then they could move that electricity around somehow. And it was as the water went up and then down, it would create the charge.
Where'd you get that from? The Giza power plant book?
And do what? With the electricity? What good is electricity if you don't have it doing any work for you? If you don't have any motors or anything to do something with that electricity, what good does it do to just collect electricity?
Summoning demons.
Well, we'd imagine. We'd
Well, they
imagine
did have
they
copper.
would conduct it somewhere.
How do we know
They did have copper. They recently found copper pipes, like copper wires, bro. Like literally.
Yeah, they were a bronze.
They had the Baghdad battery, so
Yeah, I was just
That
going to
is-
say
Did
it
they?
could have been a lot of plating, electrolysis.
That is a theory.
yeah, but
Well-
to make
And
a
then the
massive
acid bath,
pyramid
yeah.
thing to make a giant pyramid thing to do to electroplate jewelry with seems a bit crazy, but
Nobody said anything about
Um,
jewelry.
I mean, it's
you said electrolysis?
Me?
No, Jeremy's
Yeah,
onto
that's
something
not
with the
used just for
electro.
jewelry.
Jeremy's onto something
What's
with the
up?
electroplating.
Did you say electrolysis? Hold on.
No, yeah.
Hold on. What did you say exactly? Oh,
Yes,
all
it's
right.
electrolysis, but it's not just for
But doing
jewelry.
electrolysis for what though? And then what?
It depends. Chemical. It can be used for multiple applications. It could be for chemical processes. could be to draw out certain chemicals. Can be for certain elements.
I've told you guys about that one guy that has it where the pyramids were made to create this I don't know what the chemical is, but it was supposedly used for leech mining, so you could like take a large quantities of like dirt that had ore in it and then pour it over it, and it would like do what mercury does, you know, like pulls it all together. So if they made their chemical in the pyramids for that, that's what this one guy, the land he's on YouTube.
You know, in the King's Chamber or whatever the nearby location is, they have that like underground hallway with like 50 giant granite like boxes in them with like lids that have airtight seals. And people focus on like, oh, the edges are so perfectly 90 degrees. They're amazing. Sure. Are they perfect? No. Are they laser? No, but they're pretty fucking close. But the fact that there's giant granite boxes way oversized for like burying anyone inside of that have airtight seals, my guess is that those were some sort of alchemical apparatus where I have no idea, but just, the
A lot of these temples had reactors, bro. It looks like they had ways to harness energy. The Great Pyramid was just one. Apparently, yeah, the water. That's I was gonna say. The river actually flowing underneath creates a vibration, and that vibration then translates. They can capture. Dude, it was nuts. It's in that book that you mentioned.
And if those granite containers or containments inside of it, like they could have been resonant chambers, and water being diamagnetic. Like if you interact with it, you can either attract it or repel it. And there is a school of thought also that that's what they were doing. They were using it to tap in to the ley lines, and if they were lining it up with the stars, if that's what they were doing, that's indication, that the stars kind of govern the ley lines. And sorry, but anyway, that the stars may actually be governing the ley lines, but because and I never even thought about this, but did you guys heard? And I don't think they built the house to the specs of the pyramid. They did build a pyramidal shaped house, and apparently, allegedly, water just appeared. It just started flowing to their house. So, I don't know. Something to think about, I guess.
Wow.
So were the pyramids before the deluge or after the deluge?
Depends
See,
who you ask.
After, definitely after.
Well, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, maybe they tapped into something with such a powerful source that they didn't realize what they would do, or maybe they did and they did it on purpose. I've wondered and speculated within myself whether or not they used the pyramids to attract water, and then flooded the earth. Ended up flooding the earth either on purpose or by accident. Like brought up the waters from the deep.
Is there any connection between deluge and delusional?
That's funny, dude. How do you spell deluge?
They're not the same spelling. I think they come from different. I looked it up earlier today. I've been on it all day, actually.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to call out like ad hoc folk etymology, but at the same time, you can't always trust the official etymology explanation of words. Like
there seems to be something to deluge and delusional. I don't know why, but for me, it resonates.
Like earth and heart are anagrams, and of course, officially, they're not related. But I get a strong feeling that I believe them when they say they're not related words. You know what I mean? You gotta follow your gut sometimes when it comes to these things. But I understand people do take it way too far sometimes. Folk etymology.
The numbers and the etymology sometimes does get a little carried away, but I think that there's synchronicity for sure. There's reasons why things line up together, whether it's coincidence or if it's correlation.
Hey, you got to follow your gut feelings, man. That's the guiding light, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Might
there
miss
was one.
once in a while.
There was one that I actually kind of discovered indirect. Like I didn't realize it was already a thing. But so do you know how you have like jesters who are like the court kind of like comedians and all of that, and they're sort of like used a bit synonymous with the idea of like, you know, magicians in a way, like with the fool. Like there's like a bit of an archetype where they like play into each other with occultism. And I kind of realized that the word jester is a play on the word gesture. And when you make a gesture, like your
Like a
hands are
mime.
to, yeah, like or when you're doing magic to deceive someone. And then I
see.
realized that there was an overlap, and then when I looked it up, it actually turns out the word does come from gesture or a gesture, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. I love when a gut feeling ends up being like backed up and supported. You're like, ha, my intuition is on point.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, I agree. There is truth to like some like I feel like they definitely try to make some things look superficially connected. Like even though there might not be like a real like etymological connection, like you can tell that there's like intentional overlaps with a lot of things.
Yeah. Like one of the reasons I feel really strongly about this is because as far as I research, they say that there's like not the I asked specific questions about the design of letters, and they say no, they're like a capital C and a capital G. You know what I mean? So similar, except for that crossbar on the G. And they're like, officially, no, it has no connection. But when you study the International Phonetic Alphabet, you know, the G and the C sound are what are called voice and voiceless pairs. And it's like, are you sure that they don't have a connection? And I mean C in the sense of like making the C sound that's not an S, the like the can, you know, coconut, that sort of sound, and that ka is the exact same like flexing of the exact same muscles as when you say like duh. I'm not sure how that sounds over my Bluetooth headphones, but you know, like uh, gun,
Yeah.
is, you know, that sound. It's the exact same flexing of the muscles. It's just whether the vocal cords are asked to like resonate while the air flows through your voice box, uh, and and so it's and there's all sorts of ones like that, like B and P are the exact same thing. And of course, a capital B and a capital P, a P is just a capital B missing its lower hump. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
there's like 10 cases of this, and they all line up with the whole voiced pairs. And but when I ask it, it's like no, that's it. It's only coincidental. I'm like, it's coincidental like 10 times in a row perfectly, like S and Z. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
really telling me that S and Z being voice and voiceless pairs and how similar those two letters are, along with all the other examples, isn't something. There's no book on this. There's no explanation. Like I'm just catching up. There's just
Right.
coincidence. It's like so you gotta just fucking be like, you know what? I'm just not gonna listen to the official story on this, and you know, that's a
Yeah.
good mindset to have about a lot of things.
And then there's speech impediments that seem to be like heretically ingrained in our ability to speak. Because some people have speech impediments, but the speech impediments, when you look into them, they actually have like genetic, like cultural things to them, with the th
What
and
do
the f.
Really? What give us an example, man.
Like the th and the f, how some people struggle to say th and they say f instead. I looked into it, and it seems to be like a cultural thing. Like it's
Interesting. I mean,
genetic, not genetic, but I guess maybe heretic. Is heredity the same as genetics?
basically, yeah. pretty much,
closely
maybe
related.
even entirely.
Hmm.
But that's
You
not to be
talking about
confused.
Ebonic? He's talking about
No.
Ebonic.
No, he's not talking about. He's not talking about cultural like dialect stuff. He's talking about speech impediments being tied to genetics, which is really interesting because it's hard for me to think of an example that isn't just like regionally based or culturally like Germans, right? Whenever they say words with W's, they'll substitute it with the V sound, even after they've lived in America for like 10 years. They're still gonna say was instead of was. You know what I mean? But that's just because their language is so similar, and when we say W, they say V. Like, so they don't, I don't know, they don't assimilate or whatever properly. They're just stuck in old habits. But when you're saying genetic ones, it's like gen. Are I mean, I saw a video the other day where someone was saying like W sounds instead of R's, like
Yeah, I've seen
baby
that.
talk. Really, I
Yeah.
really 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 love you or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like why can't? So that would be like, is that an example? Because to me, they're just like raised by bad parents. I wouldn't say that's caused genetically. I'd just say they're I don't want to say dumb or mentally impaired, but like they were raised the wrong way or raised by the
What if
wrong people.
what if it's leftovers of like where it's been erased, but that is where it's lingered still?
Well, that same kid who says I really love whiting the alphabet, or like he has a brother and his brother speaks perfectly fine. I'm just, hypothetically, I'm painting this scenario because I do know like a family of like four daughters and three of them speak perfect English, and the youngest one that the mother put the least amount of effort into educating is the one who's talks like a retard. So it's like I don't know how you would determine whether that's just like the neglect from her mom that led her to
Yeah, it's just a
talking
basic.
so stupidly, or if it's somehow he got a strain of genetics that her sisters dodged the bullet from.
It's both. It's the predisposition, isn't it? And versus the environmental, you have a template, and if you push one way or another, you can either be afflicted or not. But you have like predispositions that would make you more prone to be an alcoholic because of the heredity. But that's
Do
why
you
I was
think?
asking: is heredity and
Do you think
genetics
that?
the same thing?
Yeah. Did you think that Spanish people using the you think that's genetic?
No, not that. Not when
Is it is it
bilingual.
is it hereditary though? Like, is it like something that
No.
is not at all?
No, that
No.
well,
Of course not.
it's not. It's you can't make the case for someone who learns English as a second language. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
it's got to be English first language, but they still can't speak it properly. And I've known some people like that, but I usually just attribute it to their parents didn't try very hard to raise them.
No, it's just where they're born, basically. If that Spanish couple had a kid and they brought it up in a different place, then it's just how it's how your mouth forms words, how your tongue is shaped, and etc. etc. No genetic aspect to it, as far as I know.
Well, there could
I
be,
originally
but
brought it up with the TH and the S or the F, but I had an experience with my kids, and they had to fight through it to figure out how to say the difference between the two consonants, the two sounds.
oh well, because you say that now, I definitely didn't mean to, you know what I mean? Like throw any insults at you. I'm not saying
No,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
not. But who's a great parent? Who's a good parent? I don't really take offense to that. I did my best. That's all I can really say.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't want it to come now that you say that. It's not like I was trying to insult the commitment you have to teaching your kids on how to speak properly. Like there's something going on, right? I guess that's your case. Like there's something going
Yes.
on and you're thinking that maybe it's, genetic. Um, what other ideas do you think, might be at play? Like, like anything, what do they call it? Like, nurture based?
I
Like
think it's
instead of
just
nature?
nature versus nurture.
I think it has to do with the muscles, the muscle development in the jaw
and the synapses for controlling those muscles when a person speaks. I've got 4, and I teach me and my wife teach through phonetics for reading, and so we're constantly critiquing the kids as they speak to pronounce, a letter, not to blend words together, because when a word ends with an S and another one ends with or starts with an F, they can end up like blending that together, and telling them to break that apart, breathe.
Enunciation, yeah.
Yeah,
All
and
kids do that. Everyone
it's
does
fun.
this. It's
Well,
something.
it's
It's
funny.
something everyone grows out of. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Well,
when you
some
when you
do.
when you're teaching your kids
Right.
too, they'll sound like British kids for a while too because of It takes a minute to learn the hard pronunciation of an R.
I think
So
you should learn how to practice to do that, to literally crisp the end of every word so that whenever you're communicating, people understand what you're saying. Because people,
yeah.
when they speak fast, they tend to blur their things together, and they know what they're going to say, but the people that are listening don't. So,
Well, I mean, my argument is very simple one for this. If you have a Japanese kid, say, or a Chinese kid, they struggle, don't they, with L's and R's, famously, right?
Oh yeah.
Only if
Yeah.
they're an
So if
immigrant.
you took
If
one of them, Fundy, don't drink in Discord, friend. If you take one of those
what the
kids
fuck,
and you just
dude?
raise them in Britain, for instance, or America, they've got no problem with L's and R's, have they?
Yep.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that was uncalled for.
That's right.
I was
That's right.
fully on board with your point, man. If you get a third generation, it's only the immigrant ones that, or their parents, have like very strong accents that it rubs off on them. But of course, like doesn't matter what race you are, if you're born and raised around, American English speakers, you're gonna sound just like them probably. It has nothing to do with your race or whatever, just what influences you had.
doesn't
It
it
still
seem
happens to
strange
me
though?
now.
Doesn't it seem
Like,
strange though that some of these languages, like you almost have an adverse effect to the sounds that they make? Isn't
hmm,
that?
What do you mean?
I feel like when I'm listening to Arabic or I'm listening to things with like the hard consonants, I actually like have to struggle to listen to it. And I want to learn more about the cultures,
Hmm.
but I like have an adverse effect to the language itself.
Oh, sure. I mean, people say German is an angry language or whatever, right? Like,
Right. That's a good example.
I want to give a compliment to English in the sense that I think English is the best language for communicating over long distances in the form of yelling. I think our language is the best one for speaking as loudly as possible and making clear sounds that communicate the language. Like other
so
languages have such delicate little breathy, like back of the throat, guttural fucking, all sorts of things and rolling of R's and little frills and taps of their sounds. And it's like, well, you couldn't possibly yell that.
no one can say MFer like an American. I agree, and I hear it all the time, even from my Brits. So it's like, yeah, we know you guys can yell and scream and hoot and holler. Like, of course, that's why our English over here, this American English, because that's what it is. It's so grand, right? It's just English, but we've kind of taken it and we have put a bunch of slangs and all this other shit and stuff, and now we have different expressions to everything.
And that's okay, isn't it? You know what I mean? I think
It does.
slang is a wonderful aspect. I mean, it's a double-edged
I use it all
sword,
the time.
but for the most part, I think slang is a very useful like a tool of language. You know what I mean? It's good shorthand.
The thing is
Helps
that
you
you have
express yourself.
slangs and the thing is that you have slang in different groups. And most of the time when people associate certain slang, they're talking about like normie 90 IQ culture slang. When every group has some form of slang that they use, but it's just generally associated with only, Zoomer, for real, no cap, on God, you know?
Well, hold on. Don't isolate Gen Z. I mean, that's millennials or whatever. I mean, I'm assuming you're millennial.
Well,
We have our own things too, man.
What's
keep
shaking
it in
is
I
to
think this
keep it in our
conversation's
generation.
rad.
In on the West Coast, when you say something is tight, that means it's like cool, it's rad, you know. But on the East Coast, when you say tight, it means you're upset.
Yeah, you call somebody a goof on the streets, generally they're going to be okay with it. But if you call somebody a goof in jail, that's a whole other thing.
Oh shit! You gotta tell us. What the fuck is the goof in jail?
Predator. I'll just say under that category, predator. I don't want to go into it.
Okay.
You get it, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate the warning in case I ever get arrested. Shit, that was a close call.
Well,
Thank you.
this is why it's important to ask questions, because even like when I'm speaking to somebody who speaks English, right, from the UK, I'm like, oh, you don't understand anything I'm saying right now, and they think they do though, right? Because it's English. No, they don't. Yeah, we use different slang, honey. It's totally different, guys.
I had some coworkers that came from Ukraine, and but they were educated in basically British English, but then they did their work abroad program in America. And I had so many conversations with them about like, wow, British English really, I don't know, set us up for failure for speaking in America. And the way they would pronounce T's was so funny, right? Like they'd say butter, like they'd put so much emphasis on the T and like butter or Skittles. And I'm like, you gotta chill that down a little bit. Just replace those T's with D's, man. It's just butter. It's just butter. Don't say
Butter.
butter or else, it's just butter.
That is funny. You do hear it a lot though, and it's everywhere, and you're like, why are you guys talking like this? But over time, honey, you pick up those ways of speaking as well too. I was doing it. Every once in a while I'll say coffee in a weird way and it sounds like I'm like, it actually doesn't even sound like from the UK. It almost sounds like I'm from Maine or something, because you're getting that mixed in with it. And the R's are going in different places, and I take off my G's, and we have this language that we create, guys, everywhere.
We
Funny.
we
But
should
the
own it.
Brits though, they're really big on keeping it proper. There's that word, proper. They do though, and that's why they don't have the
That's
expressions
not
like you
true
were
though.
explaining earlier, like me and you, as much, because they try to keep it reserved and proper that way, so it stays where you understand one another.
That's a psyop right there. Perhaps. Okay, I don't want to speak to this like with an like overly confident tone, but I do want to tell you something that I think is true for some reasons, but a deeper dive would be necessary for me to speak with absolute confidence or whatever. But I've heard plenty of times from plenty of people, right, that the American accent is more authentic to this is a bad way to put it, but basically original English, and that the whole British accent is actually more of a recent invention of people basically just being snobs and trying to make themselves sound more fancy, and that it's actually not any sort of like proper English. It's actually like a retarded like stuck up version of English that was invented along the lines, and Americans have a more authentic accent.
Tell me you read that in a comic.
I know
No,
it's like
no,
backwards. So
like
That's the
one
most
of the
insane
examples
you
they
are
thing
going
say.
to hate to do this.
I know the
No,
vocabulary would be
it's
different,
backwards.
but
It's
about
watered down. We have watered down it, hun. That's what we've
I'm
done.
not
We've
saying
watered
every
it down to
American
no end, and we've
dialect.
made English into something different now, where it's English can mean all this different shit. But when you go over there, the communication is quite clear. And that is what we should be focusing on more than anything when it comes to communication, is clarity, understanding one another. And it feels like if you look back at the words and everything too, like aeroplane and everything, aluminium, right, mathematics. It seems like honestly, I know you feel like it's like, oh, they're being snobs, but no, they were being very proper. So we
No,
all
they
had
they
clarity. Now it's like, oh, we talk so much shit over here, it's unreal. What do we talk about over here again? Like,
Wait, okay. I got three short points. I swear they're super short. First one is the example that like someone would give on one of those videos I was talking about listening to. They would say that did Shakespeare like say a word that's existed for a while, like a bath, right? Did Shakespeare say bath like an American, or did Shakespeare say bath like an English bloke, right? And the idea is that Shakespeare would have said bath, not bath. And then my other point is so it's like, oh yeah, Shakespeare and before him and contemporaries would speak more like an American than. Anyways, I might have lost my other point. Okay, go ahead. I'll chime in when I remember. Sorry.
That is so wrong.
So,
okay,
like the Romeo, you're saying just sound a little bit different, you know? You think it's just like Romeo, what's up, Romeo? Like, no, I'm pretty sure, honey, it was like very nice, and they spoke in a specific way, and if they said it would sound very nice, I can't do it for you, but yeah, be Romeo. You're gonna have it out though, it's gonna be really expressional,
I remembered my other point is that the English accent puts R's on the end of words that don't end in R, and then actually removes pronouncing the R of words that do have R's on them. Like they literally like it's opposite day when it comes to words that end with R over there.
Give me an example.
Excuse me?
Can you give me an example of
Yeah. So like water. A hilarious meme. Water. It's not. And it's not even like an actually pronounced T. It's just replaced with a guttural stop.
Yeah,
it's called. It's just water.
That's true.
And then there's so many words that end in A that for some reason just get the letter R placed like just imaginarily, like it's not spelled with an R, but they put an R after the A for no reason all the time.
Yeah, but you got like three accents in the UK. You got like the posh accent, which is easy to identify. Then you got one of these like, that geocentrist kid. He's got like he could be from anywhere. He's got like no particular accent. Then you got the regional one, like the Pazza guy. He's definitely from down south or somewhere like that because he sounds like a pirate.
Where are you from? Hey, Gio, are you there, Gio?
I can't unhear what you just said.
Yes.
I just heard on a journalism show that Rob Skiba's wife died.
The what? Oh,
Too
wait.
bad. Wife.
Oh, rip. Rest in peace.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. They're saying
Holy cow.
They're saying it's probably cancer, but yeah, they're not sure it's fine.
Wait. No. You're talking about Rob Skiba's alive?
No, Rob Skiba's wife.
His wife just died.
Oh, I couldn't understand you correctly. Okay.
What is that? A year, or is that 2 years after his death? How long has it been?
2 probably.
It was Rob Skiba passed away. What, like a year or two into COVID, right?
Into it.
Yeah.
So it's almost been 3, maybe, guys. Time's been flying like crazy since this has happened. Oh, thank you for actually interrupting me and everybody, because it's a topic. It's a wonderful one, actually. Not a wonderful one. I shouldn't say it like that. But I mean, yeah, that's messed up. How did they find this out, though? That's where.
Yeah, I don't know. That somebody just told journalism.
Okay.
Do you think maybe
I
they
hope they're
both
not
went to
yanking
the
his
same?
chain.
Do you think maybe they both went to the same CIA island?
No. I never had anything. I never felt anything weird about Rob Skiba. I used to watch him back in the day, way before even getting into this stuff, guys. So for me, I felt like it was more. It was totally different. I was into him for the other shit. Like, look at him, the Giants and other things. I wasn't even into Flat Earth yet when I was listening to Rob Skiba. So for me, it's not about like shill, CIA, and that crap going to islands. No, you guys might think I don't think that way about him or anything about him.
Speaking from experience, when You know, when I don't want to say elderly, but I'll say mature instead, right? Couples, one of them dies. It just
Yeah.
seems to me like the ones that really love each other died. The second one dies soon after the first one. In a lot of cases.
Yep.
Takes a toll. Takes a toll on you emotionally, and then emotions what turn to physical stress, all that, and yeah, it can go very
Yeah.
quickly. My brother did too.
You,
Like his cancer came out of nowhere and it came quick and it was gone. Bing bing. We only had what, a year and a half, 2 years without fighting that shit. It was gone. It's not easy. So when
was
stress
that
happens in the
follow?
family, then all of a sudden, boom, 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 you start getting more health issues going along. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about your brother, but that was following a death that happened soon before it.
Oh yes, too as well. Yes, we've had so many in a very short period of time. It's been crazy, and our family, I think a lot of people did, and then COVID made it no easier during these times for anyone. So I'm sure the what they went through, what she went through, for real, in the hospitals and everything else, because I had to be in them during these times, was brutal. Um, yeah, the family things, everything they had to go through. So herself probably went through a lot in her head, heart. And stress can
I think
cause these things to happen in your body. And if you're not taking care of it in the moment, to be honest, you don't. When you're going through stress, you don't take care of your body. You check out. I've done it
Yeah.
recently, trying to get my health back in order again. When you go through something very traumatic, you relationship breakup, something, right, or losing someone, because that's basically what you feel like. You'll pick up your cigarettes again. You might start drinking. You might just honestly eating whatever, and then
Sure.
you go, oh, shit, So that's a very sad story to hear. I'm going to pray that that's not the case and pray for the family at hand that are dealing with that. For, it takes an effect on everyone.
I think one of the most potent forces that keeps someone alive is simply like the desire to live, and like a
Yes.
strong desire. And if you kind of lose that sense of like even wanting to get out of bed, then that's like, yeah.
Over and out. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Eventually. Or quickly. It doesn't, I don't
And
know. It
lose.
depends on the body and what's going on. Yeah.
How do we do you want to stick on this? This is a hard one to transition out of. Like
Right. No.
whatever you
This is staying so
whatever
low,
you
but
guys
at the
want to
same time.
do.
This is the problem at hand. Like, a lot of people have health issues. And it's what we all need to start focusing on is in our internal work, right? Instead of like, what can we do to fix the world? Like, what can you do to fix yourself is the most important thing. We need to also remember. Sometimes a lot of people give too much of their energy to others, in fact, and forget to, help the one in the mirror. Like, I'm trying to focus on what I can do in my life to make my life better. And every day it was like a total work, but now it's like, what about your physical, Stacey? You're not drinking enough water. You're smoking too much. I'm drinking too much coffee. Cutting back on those certain things do have a big importance and play in your life, right? Like, health is not just promised to you. Like, tomorrow it's not either. This is the point. So focus on our health, right? What can we do to get our health better every day?
I think there's some easy pitfalls to avoid when it comes to health. And we're all adults, we can decide for ourselves, but it may not even be important for me to say this, but I definitely think someone can focus on health to the point where that it's actually taking away from other important aspects of their life, like just enjoying things. Like, is ice cream in any way nutritional or good for you? Probably not, right? Especially certain brands, but I'm still gonna recommend you have ice cream every once in a while. You know what I mean? Even if there's just, experience is a whole other aspect of life. And, you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet and, poison yourself sometimes, guys. I don't know. That sounds so stupid, right? That sounds so
Or be
stupid, but
happy.
I'm saying, hey, poison
Yeah.
yourself sometimes, guys. It's good for your soul. It may be bad for your body, but it's good for your soul. I don't know. It's fucked up to say. I don't know.
I
You're
think
right.
trying
I
to
get what you're
extend,
saying.
I think extending your life, trying to extend your life unnaturally at the extent in giving up on things that could be pleasurable to you is against your soul. So you should do some things.
Interesting.
if you get the opportunity to be able to enjoy something that's in front of you, as long as you don't overindulge, I think it's sinful not to.
It's on a situationally evaluated, instance by, you know what I mean? Like, you got to judge it on an individual basis for every experience. But obviously, you just got to use your own discernment to figure out when you should and shouldn't poison yourself and what's too far, what's crossing the line. It sounds so stupid, right? It's like, no, never poison yourself, never shorten your life. But I don't know. Life's not necessarily like that. Fucking poison yourself sometimes, guys. Like,
Listen, if y'all invited me to go out and have some pizza, and I'm like, oh man, this is a nasty ass pizza. We all know we shouldn't be eating this shit right now. It's poison. But you know what? It's a good old damn time. And we all sat around and had a great time smoking a joint and had a good conversation. And it filled our souls with laughter and fun. I'm pretty sure all of that laughter and fun and soul right there fulfillment is going to be way stronger and overpower that little bit of pizza. Just saying. You know what I mean? It's okay to have certain things. Right, we hope. We pray.
Have you ever heard of
Kumbaya.
Go ahead, man.
I got some beef. I got to go back to that water point. Is that like Americans cannot trash talk the British for how they say that? One is that, there are 10 different British dialects, at least. But it's also, so the British don't pronounce the last R, right? But Americans say bottle of water. Like, instead of just not saying something, they'd literally replace one consonant with another. Americans have no right to trash talk how the British say bottle of water. Bottle of water is just as bad, if not worse.
Right. But tell me what's happening there. The replacement of a T with a D. What is that?
It is not being precise with your words.
Right, but all
nobody
it's doing
says.
is
They are precise and they're English, but not their. What?
It's laziness of the mouth, which happens in every single language. And the most common cases, and the fact the way all language evolves over time, is people conserving calories. Not that that's their mindset, but just subconsciously they're trying to put less effort into speaking or doing any activity, right? And it's just literally calorie conservation where you don't engage the vocal cords when pronouncing the T sound, and it turns into the D sound because they are, like I mentioned earlier, the voiced and voiceless consonant pairs of each other. And so it's to be expected, and it's also the trajectory every language takes and evolves into. I would say, I would say just update the fucking dictionaries, honestly. Like, hey, Skittles, just change your name. You know what I mean? Like, just evolve with the times, Skittles.
Yeah, so Americans are lazy. Got it.
No, it's not American.
Yes.
No, it's not American. It's not Americans. It's everyone, man. It's not just Americans. Every language will not emphasize, and articulate themselves. Every single language replaces voiced consonants with I'm sorry, the other way around. They replace voiceless consonants with voiced consonant alternatives for just the ease of speaking. And it's not Americans being lazy.
All right,
It is.
Fundy. Let him respond, dude. Let him respond.
All right.
That was a lot, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have a response. It's just cope. It's just total and complete cope for being low energy. When you have high energy, you're more willing to pronounce things better.
I don't even think it's that, guys. Listen, as we're clicks and we grow up, I've hung out with a lot of different people, traveled and stuff, and people will start adapting with the people they're hanging out with, guys. You start saying what they say, and if they have a slang, you say it that way. And it might be cutting words off and everything else, but you start talking like the people around you, like you said earlier, Fundy. It really has nothing to do with being lazy. It has to do with, honestly, people clicking up. I can guarantee, when I start saying stupid on live stream, guess what? Everybody started saying the same damn thing. The whole right, then everybody starts saying right the same damn way. This is the whole issue, is we all, like, as a culture, right? It's not an issue, but Start speaking like one another, right? Like we're family. That's all it is, guys.
Well,
It's
the
not
thing is,
laziness. I
even in
don't think
the
necessarily.
even in the U.S., you have so many different dialects, different accents all over
I'll
the place.
say
But
I'll say one.
Massachusetts is the original state, bro. Massachusetts is one of the that's where people first came on the Plymouth. I mean, on the Mayflower.
I think there's one
Wait, now we're gonna
aspect.
go there,
Go ahead.
Lion? Really?
The Mayflower, bro. Massachusetts. Come on, man. We got Harvard over here.
Mayflower Compact, baby.
We got
This isn't
we got
fair.
all the best universities, all the best colleges are over here on the East Coast. You got a few in the West.
I'm just gonna say
But
an anecdote.
yeah, man, like New York, Boston, they set the English standard, bro. And then you go down south, you go to Louisiana and New Orleans. They don't speak the
Oh.
same English, bro. Very
Oh, it's
Yeah,
not
different.
because it's different cultures that came in. Like the South is a lot more Irish influenced, whereas Midwest is more German influenced, and the New England is more, you guessed it, English influence.
It's very, yeah.
So
You can see these different things, man, all over when you travel like that. I was just talking to someone in Louisiana, and it's Alabama too. Listen, the people that are serious from Alabama, I don't even know what the hell that is. That is not even language. It's bing, 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 bing. It's really difficult to understand anyone from there. And I'm country myself. I don't know. So it's everywhere though. But you're right on that about the Irish being down there more. I agree.
I think there's one highest principle of like verbal communication, and it's understandability, right? So speak in a way, because what are you even speaking for in the first place, right? To communicate to someone else. Otherwise, you're just singing or something. But if you're speaking, the highest principle involved is that the person listening that you're talking to knows what you're saying, right? And if language is evolving over time, then you need to speak in a more, developed way. So I know that happens in pockets that might develop separately that make, certain places around America or whatever, speaking the same root language, but then the dialects come involved and that causes issues. So it is a double-edged sword. But, if you're trying to sell insurance to a farmer or whatever, you might want to speak the way he speaks. You know what I mean? And I'm not
Exactly.
sure. I'm not sure that I'm not sure there's some sort of specific version of an English accent that is actually something that should be like held up high and preserved as like the correct way of speaking. That's never worked out for anyone ever. You know what I mean?
So the easiest way to understand this is that, when you're in New York, you're going to be interacting with, thousands of people a day. You can't really be imprecise with your words. You got to be speaking fast and you got to be getting to the point. Like you can't be like Fundy, you know what I mean? Whereas in the South, you can have a little bit more of a draw. You can be a little bit more comfortable. You're going to be interacting with maybe 1-2 people a day. You can be a little bit more chill and relaxed with your verbiage, and you have no need to be rushing through things. So in this sense, the way that people talk is based on the kind of environment that they live in and how much that affects the way that they interact with each other.
Live, work, all that stuff. Like how I speak super fast paced, all that stuff. That's just because of people that I've been around. You got to keep up with us. So, yeah, it's just the people you're around, guys, and you adapt.
Yeah, we shape our environment, and it shapes us.
Amen.
It's also why you have people that are on the internet their entire lives. They really often speak.
What's going on right now?
They often speak the same way in the same dialect. Like you can't really tell that they're from a particular place. It's more that they speak the internet slang. You know what I mean? The internet dialect, which is really just regional California dialect.
It's also
Are you trying to talk about me right now with my country accent or something right now? I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't hear it at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think the only thing that is a sin in language, really, when it comes to dialects, is have the people around you or have the people around each other. I mean, and the way they've started, transforming the way they speak, has that been like maladaptive and detrimental to being even understood by each other? You know what I mean?
So,
Like,
Mhm.
go ahead.
yeah, so I would say one thing to that is that generally people will always understand each other in their same environment. Now, there may not be as much depth of language as they can't get more complex thoughts out, but then that might also be that they're not very complex people. So you have a lot of thought terminal cliches and Zoomer speak, like blood didn't even cook or something like that. And there's also a value in not being understood, in that it has a value in gatekeeping to where you know the difference between us and them. And you can speak in certain words to where, as an example, me and my other conspiracy bros in real life, right? We can have an in-depth conversation about the wildest, most crazy things possible. And we're using different terminology and codes that is so alien, this jargon, that people on the outside don't even understand. So they don't even understand that we're talking about the most batshit crazy ideas you've ever heard.
Can you just keep that up forever, man? I honestly think it's
it's
actually
really
pretty damn good. I ain't gonna lie. It's actually pretty damn good, sweetheart.
It's really easy. Thank you.
Do you think that sometimes the language gets changed though to where we are saying the opposite of what we actually are meaning?
Absolutely. Well, I know what you're saying by that, and I say yes to what I think you mean.
So
Are
that's what
you trying to say
Does
like
this
bad
happen?
meaning bad or bad meaning good and good meaning bad?
Like Michael Jackson's song,
I'm
"Who's
Yeah.
saying that
bad?" when he really means like "Who's awesome."
the intent of our words are not the same as the original intent of what the word was.
Oh, like saying
yeah.
something is sick?
Yeah, I would say a big part of this comes from general culture that has come since like Gen X time, of this like very cringe sarcasm. The kind of jokes and the kind of humor that you see in like Marvel movies are like the epitome of that. So
I think sarcasm is actually very bad for our soul, but I think
Yes.
that we do it because it's cool. And because we get this, I call it witty intelligence. It's when you can like stand in a room and say something that's really smart and deep that only a few people understand, but it makes you feel special because they all hear it and laugh, and you're just like, yeah.
Sarcasm is funny, dude. I like it.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I think it's bad for your soul, though. Actually, personally,
it's fundamentally based in insincerity. Like you are meaning something that is explicitly against what you're saying. It's very insincere.
Absolutely, but hey,
all the time.
To expand on this real quick is that I feel like we're constantly in contradiction. We're constantly hypocrisy. We're constantly being held up to hypocrisy. And that's when we are consenting, we are knowingly consenting to the hypocrisy that we're agreeing to. And I think a lot of that's in language. That's just something.
Can I tell you the name?
Go ahead.
Can I tell you the name for such words that are used that way? They're called contronyms. Like Michael Jackson's, who's bad, but really like, who's awesome is what he really means. The way they get used that way, it's like the same word but has two opposite definitions in context.
Yeah, but this type of stuff creates ambiguous conversations and behavior. You won't know what someone's meaning. And the way they speak to you sometimes, especially over there in the UK, it's like very ambiguous. You're like, you don't know, and they do it on purpose. Which one it's going to be? You decide. And they're very sarcastic, sarcasm and satire, which I do enjoy. It's actually quite funny, and I get it. So it's witty. You got to be intelligent to be able to speak like this, though, guys. So they're not stupid.
You don't have to be intelligent.
The real purpose of
Oh,
language,
honey, the
though,
people
is
over there, you do the way they speak, it's hilarious, and they're intelligent.
I think anyone who can speak at all is deserving of the title or the description of being intelligent. When you really think about what language is and someone's ability to even use it at like a 5th grade level, like that. I mean, humans are highly intellectual beings. Even the dumbest of us are incredibly intellectual beings. If I can paint it with
The
rose
reason I
tinted glasses
brought
a
it up
little bit.
is because the AI can literally replicate like any accent. It's ridiculous. You're gonna ask it to speak Dominican, Puerto Rican, Mexican accent, whatever accent you want, dude. Valley girl.
I mean,
It knows
even
any
the
accent, dude.
even the ability to be dumb is still a sign of intelligence. That's why, like,
what?
Well, because think about it. The fact that something or that somebody can be dumb, like, there's still a lot of intelligent systems that go into making the person that have those qualities that even make them dumb.
It's actually really hard to pretend to be dumber than you are. Like the kind of things that somebody who would be as dumb as you're trying to replicate would get stuck on. It would be hard to even conceive that somebody could get stuck on those things.
Exactly.
Can
Well,
you be
like, for-
highly?
Yeah.
Can you be highly intelligent without language?
I come to the idea that you cannot understand or comprehend concepts that you don't have language for.
If you can't say it, you can't think it is a sentence I heard recently, and I've been thinking about that. And it's it's kind of an impossible. It's sort of what's it called? Unfalsifiable, because you wouldn't be able to explain a situation to someone that you couldn't put into words yourself. So maybe you can think
So
things that you can't say, but it would be a personal experience that you would never be able to communicate to another person to prove.
I think it's the
So
whole
how does
idea.
a baby reach out and touch the father's finger and want to squeeze it without a thought process of wanting to squeeze the father's finger? And then you just take these babies with absolutely zero language and don't have any understanding or thoughts in their head?
Good point. Good point. But is that kind of involves like emotions versus thoughts? And that's a
Yeah.
tough thing to separate for us too.
I was trying to
No,
allude to the
chemical things.
way,
Yeah.
because it is really about the way. That's how you teach people how to do things, is by doing it and showing them. And the language that we're using is supposed to be a tool, not our way of life. The language is
Or a
supposed
cage.
Yes, or a cage. Very good. Or a dome.
Or an operating system is how Terence McKenna put it. He says that everyone's language eventually becomes their operating system of how they process reality mentally, I suppose. But yeah.
I sent a meme in chat which perfectly describes this phenomena.
Well, if you take language away and then you just focus on what is, I think there is intelligence. It's just described in something that's beyond our language.
Doesn't it
It's
take
wild stuff.
intelligence to understand language in the first place, guys, though?
Absolutely.
You're already born with this intelligence and understanding in a way, or you wouldn't even be able to grasp what someone's saying to you.
Yeah, this is a concept that a lot of babies, when they babble, they can babble in pretty much any kind of dialect. And like the older that they get, they start to lose the ability to make certain sounds because of the kind of words that people are speaking around them. Like you'll hear babies that are around, like 8 months old, and a French baby will have a distinctly different cry than an English baby or a German baby.
Is the Babel the same as the Tower of Babel?
There is a potentially good connection there, yes.
Oh, I'd say there's a really obvious connection there, right?
Absolutely.
They're both like, linguistically coded words or associated to linguistics. That is the whole focal point, right? The story of Babel. Like, that's what most people take away from it, right? The story about language.
I think it's that we, whenever we're left, yeah, it's multi-layered. I don't want to get into it. I guess it's a long subject. It's a whole different thing.
Is it true though, or is that crossing the line that you just said you didn't want to go into?
I don't know. I mean, it's the Tower of Babel. It's just a story that's been left to us. There's a lot of symbolism to it, and there seems to be a lot to Babel.
Dude,
for
the
sure.
library of Babel is way cooler than the fucking Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel is stupid compared to the Library of Babel.
And the Library of Babel is this thing on the computer, right?
It's a website.
It's a program.
Basically. It is cool though. It's one of those things that only exists because of the internet, and it almost feels like destined to exist in a sense. Like it's just one of these. I don't know. It's special. It's very special. I say.
What was that? What's special?
Tell him, Jeremy.
Wouldn't the code be Babel at the moment, like in this current paradigm? Computer coding? I mean, the language doesn't even matter these days. Like, you can speak Spanish and get it translated into English in an instant. So, same language.
I
The
agree.
Library of Babel is basically, you know how the Glovers talk about infinite monkeys on infinite typewriters? That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, we've got the internet now, so we know that's not true.
Professor, turn up your mic or get closer or something.
Yeah, sorry, it was on the floor. I said, yeah, but we've got the internet now, so we know that's not true.
What are you talking about?
What's not true?
Million monkeys, million
What's not
typewriters.
true?
We've got the internet now, so we know that that's not true. Kind of a joke.
Well,
You know what's not true. I still don't know what you don't know what's true. Hold on, Fundy. What's not true?
There used to be a theory that if you had a million monkeys, million typewriters, eventually you'd get the works of Shakespeare. That's what you were referring to. I appended that with, yeah, but we've got the internet now, so we know that that's not really true.
No, that's what the thing
the
is on the
implication
internet,
being
though.
that
The
you have
Library of
billions of
Babel.
people. What
That's what
library
we
of
got
Babel?
now. That's what we got. We got the infinite monkeys on the infinite typewriters because we have the Library of Babel now, which does that.
Yeah, but you don't get the works of Shakespeare. You just get largely nonsense.
You're
Type
only
pick a page in Shakespeare and type it in the Library of Babel. See if you get something. I
no
bet it's
idea
in
what
there.
you're
It's
referring
got
to
10,
be honest.
It's
The
got
monkey
10
theorem.
to the 5,000 power amounts of pages.
My comment was not intended to be taken entirely seriously. It is a joke at the expense of internet users being largely a bit like randomly typing monkeys, and the fact that so much of what there is on the internet is such utter nonsense.
I got you. But that's like
you know, I
British,
mean,
British humor.
forgive my dry British humor. Yeah.
Because
I got you.
dissecting the joke in order to debunk it, the missing element from your joke is the infinite amount of time that you allow the monkeys to slam their fingers on the typewriters, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point, that they have infinite amount of time and that eventually every combination, but okay, if it was a joke, then we can move on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's okay, Professor. Listen, I
spent
get
too much
that
time
type
on it
of humor.
already.
Yeah. So
Too much
one
time on
thing
it already.
One thing of going to Babel is that I actually did look into this a couple months ago, and that Babel, the Tower of Babel, and the word Babel actually have nothing to do with each other. Babel means gate of God, as in the Tower of Babel. That's what it means. And the word Babel comes from the Middle Low German word called Babylon, which means to chatter. So they actually don't have any connection with each other.
Well, they might in an unofficial way. I wouldn't take that. Like I was saying earlier about the design of the letters of the alphabet. Officially, they say, "Oh no, P and B." They're voice and voiceless paired consonants, but no, it's just a coincidence that they're so similarly shaped, and as well as the other 10, pairs in the alphabet that seem so obviously intentionally designed that officially have nothing to do with each other. So. I mean, Etym Online will tell you that the suffix able, like predictable, encourageable, any whatever able suffix has nothing to do with the solo word able. And it's like, are you sure? Like, what? Sometimes you
You know,
just
too,
got
that they didn't say something like, "Oh, that's Babel," like the story, like, "Oh," and they started making fun of it. They're like, they don't believe that shit. So then it became, "Oh, that's Babel," and now we make fun of it like it's Babel talk, right? That's Babel, even though it was literally them saying no to it. How do I know?
And especially something like biblically rooted. I mean, all the Christians out there will definitely feel good about me saying the conspiratorial idea that if if there's something very eye-opening about the Bible and something that gives it, like, some claws sunk into other aspects of reality, that's something you'd imagine they would want to
Exactly.
deny.
Right. And I could see that playing in reality. I would see that matches, even though it has nothing to do with it. It could over time with people. Yeah. We make up things all the time along the way. For heaven's sakes, bootylicious is in the damn dictionary. Listen, guys, we can make up things
What's
along
the
the way. They did back then too. I don't know. I actually don't know, but I remember a long time ago hearing about it.
Please read the official definition
Definition
of
for
bootylicious. Please, somebody.
I couldn't believe when I heard it. This is dumb. This is dumb.
You sure that's not Urban Dictionary? Bootylicious is in the official, like, Oxford or
I
something.
swear to God, it's in it, honey. I could be wrong, but I swear we looked it up. Like, put it in, somebody, please.
Merriam-Webster's.
This is like 10 years old, or it's a long time ago when she kept explaining about it back in the day when I was into Beyonce and all that, guys. And she's explaining what bootylicious meant. And then eventually I heard about it being put into the dictionary. And this was before I even came to this community. And I thought, what in the heck is going on in our world? It was already back then. This is a long time ago. So I don't know exactly where I remember hearing about it. It was on the news. It was on the radio. Everybody was talking about it.
I'm sorry if this is like a stupid idea, but earlier today I was trying to make like a roast, like a roast comedy skit about the thesaurus. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck needs 10 different ways to say the same word? Like, what the fuck is up with the thesaurus? Like, shouldn't those words for efficiency's sake just be like, all right, we're gonna remove these other 10 options. We only need one. Why the fuck are we overcomplicating shit?
Well, it
It's
gets
a bad
complicated
joke,
when
though.
you travel. Like when you're an American and you travel to like the UK and you see stuff like Bologna, when you call it bologna, because all you know is bologna. And you do the Oscar Mayer thing, and they don't know what the hell you're talking about bologna and Oscar Mayer. I even sung it for them. They're like, "What are you talking about?" And I had to pull it up. I'm like, "That's called bologna." They're like, "No, it's from Bologna." This is Bologna. It's bologna. Like, so we're so confused by simple as shit advertisements. Everything has changed our language, but in reality, it was it's basically like a piece of meat, but it's from Bologna. And I'm like, oh, that's what they call bologna? Maybe? Or is that what they got it from? Like, listen, we are so out of clue, guys, of things in this world, and all over the world is this way. Even how we speak, they're confused. Even when you speak English speaking people, when you go to different, you travel, it's all over the place. You got to be careful using the words like, you're being aggressive. What? You got to be careful. Like you're trying to fight me. Little tiny words like that people take differently in other countries because it's just that word they don't use in that manner. Language is very, Go ahead, Nate.
The easiest way to understand, Fundy, why you do want more words to describe things in a way that's very practical to understand is the word love. Is that the love that you have for a cheeseburger is clearly different than the love that you have for your child. But we use the same word, whereas Greek has, 10 different words for love, like agape, mania, philia, all of these things. It's so much more useful to have more terms.
Right. And, the Eskimos have 50 different words for different qualities of snow. And so I feel you, man. I totally get, like I said, I was just trying
But
to
this is
write
why
a
it's
little
different. Like the
comedy
Hawaiian
roast.
language, do you guys know the Hawaiian language? It's very small. So when they try to express themselves in the same way as we do, it's not that easy to switch the languages now over. Like, so if you use some type of app or something to translate, it doesn't translate correctly. You're like, no, you can't type it like an American,
I would push back on that love thing, and that love is not what it is defined by today. All those other definitions aren't what really love is. And that's what I would
okay, well, before you tell us which one's right or wrong, or how you feel about that, I mean, do you actually have the correct definition of the word love? Like, that's tough, man.
No, I don't even think that you really. I mean, I think eros is eros. I think that I don't know, but what I would say is that it's been watered down to where we can't even. I don't even know that you. I think that they had a much more specific language where the words were
one word meant more. So there was a love that had a more defined and accepted understanding. But
Okay.
now it's cheeseburgers.
That's what I'm saying. It's more watered down when
Yeah.
we use so much of these different ways to express things and ways. I feel like it's more watered down as much as it sounds like we're using a lot of different ways to express things. It's specific to the point, clarity. I just think it's important in a language. And we don't necessarily sometimes have it because we don't understand what someone means. So you have to ask them again, what did you mean by that? You know, and if you don't have to ask that, that's quite nice. The ambiguous
there's a
behavior
power.
of a language could be really annoying, you know?
There we so we don't take like the authoritative roles that we currently occupy. Like we don't recognize the power that we currently have. So language is like a family heirloom or something, or like an inherited house that you can
Yeah.
redecorate as you wish. And we're basically throwing parties and letting people rearrange our furniture, when really you got to own your house and realize that we are the current what's that term in the Bible for steward? We are the current stewards of language, right? And this is our time to do with it what we please, and we can be uh, like focused on its development in a positive way, or we can go with the flow and let any sort of influence have its way. One thing that I
Right.
just want to encourage is everyone taking their rightful position on the throne as king of language and inventing new words. I feel like that's something that's not done enough nowadays, or just not on the mind of people. We should all be inventing new words, and you got to sit down and think about it sometimes. But I've already invented, a few words
I know.
myself that I'd love to put into the dictionary. And not just silly slang, but like actually like systematically crafted, words like that.
It would work good. Right. Hmm.
We should do that.
I mean, I agree with you 100%, Fundy, but at the same time, people have to have enough like knowledge of the language and to know that it's not already just a word you're creating isn't already a word. And also they'd have to have not just what was the other thing I was just about to say? Not knowledge of the language, but they'd have to have a creative ability beyond what most people generally have.
Sure. I'll give you an example, right? When I'm making my fundamental ontology chart of reality, um, on the second layer, I was like, what do you call a change of amount? Like not vaguely, not just a little bit related in a sense, but like specifically, like the definition would be a change of quantity or a change of amount. You know what I mean? Because we have minus and plus, or addition and subtraction, or growth and lessening, right? But those are specific in one direction. What if you wanted to ambiguously say, I have the number 2 and it changed into another number, but I'm not going to tell you whether it turned into a larger number or a smaller number. All I'm saying is I want a
Fundy?
word. Yeah.
Variable.
I mean that word is like I said, it's like you say it varied, but many things can vary. You can vary in size and shape and in color and all that, and it's not specific to number. I'm talking about specifically a change of a number, but ambiguous to whether it's increasing or decreasing in number amount. So I called it a quantifluction. A quantifluction is specifically a change in quantity. And that word didn't exist, so I invented it.
Go team. Good job.
I'm just saying,
Starting with the fundamentals.
That's our job, Or it's not our job, but it's it's the power that we all have. The language is ours to do with what we will right now. And plenty of people in history have invented new words,
and that's your birthright to do the same. And that might, that might be a very powerful thing if you can think of a concept that hasn't been, encapsulated by a word yet. Might be a valuable tool for people in the future. Anyway, it's not too important. I feel certain passionate ways about it and just want to share that. We can move on. Sorry.
I would say there's nothing new under the sun. You can't really describe anything new.
Things get lost, though. Words get forgotten. So nothing's new, but some things do get forgotten that need to be exhumed back out from their
Rediscovered.
graves. Reinvented, whatever, yeah.
Well, the languages definitely are net, for sure. I don't know if you can just create new words, though.
What do you
Yes,
mean
you
you can't?
can.
You can.
The Greek
Everyone's
language.
done that since forever.
The Greek language is known for creating new words. Like, that's part of what it's for. And our language is built largely on the Greek.
But what was before Greek, right? Was it Aramaic?
Pelasgian or Linear B.
Proto-Indo-European, as far as we can estimate.
Pelasgian or Proto-Indo-European.
And that's what was spoken during.
Apparently the Mayans or the Incas and the Olmecs, like those cultures go back quite a bit further than the pyramids, actually, apparently. And they've had language, for a very long time.
And their language is the symbology stuff, that like basically hieroglyphics. Do we have evidence?
They do have they have a written language, but like each hieroglyphic, it's like they're telling you a scene with the hieroglyphics. It's pretty
That's what I was
wild.
trying to get into earlier about words. Is that like back in the day, love meant like a whole thing. Now it doesn't mean anything because it's been parsed away so much. And I think
You lost me
with symbols. I just think that the symbols mean so much more. Like each word meant so much more in the time when that was written and understood.
Probably, man. Probably things get diluted over time and conflated with other words and like the laziness and the convenience and whatever. You lost me when you said hieroglyphics because I think it's a really safe assumption that verbal language basically verbal English versus written English or verbal Chinese versus written Chinese, that the verbal version of a language always predates the written version. No one ever figures out some sort of systematic design of symbols to communicate before they start taking it and turning it into sounds. Like,
but we don't have recorded
every language
sound,
starts
no?
out spoken first, and then they find a way to turn the sounds that they're making to communicate verbally, and then depict that graphically.
That may be true, but we don't have evidence of the sound that they were making. We don't know what sounds those symbols were.
Right. That's what. Yeah. Then they try to reverse engineer what they think that language sounded like based on their writings. But yeah,
we have no idea. There's no way we can know that.
Just educated guesses, but it could be so wrong. Like the whole all the examples in English, with like PH making an F sound. You can't fucking figure that out.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?